Alright, hello. How's it going, everybody? How's it going there, Alistair? How's it going there, Amanda? Good to see you guys. Alright, so working on the seaplane to start with here. We'll work on the wrecker a little bit too. Let me know if the music's too loud. Alright. I think we're good here. Let's see. So, did some work on this last night. It's kind of on my pet project for a little bit here. So, seaplane, started working on this yesterday. I've got Albatross over here, pretty much ripping out all Albatross's systems. Helped me get accelerated here. So, first flight and landing yesterday flies really well, as anticipated. Currently just doing a little paint work here so I can actually see what the hell I'm working with inside. So. Could go back to a light color and do color swap it, but we'll just do this. Might as well get it painted. So part of the goal of this is the ability to load cargo in and out of the cargo hold here. It's going to be multi-level. Let's see what I get for other colors here. I think this is my ceiling. I think so. Let's save it. I gotta go check colors. Let's be smart about this. What are we talking? Alright, let's go to Phenomena, the be tall. Alright. Get that, and then ceiling color is that. Okay. Oh, stop. Nobody meant to press that button there. Alright. So whether or not I'll color that rear that color or not is yet to be determined. Let's probably just, do this. Go like that, and then we'll grab off a block. Do that for now. Symmetry, we got symmetry going here. Beautiful. Did I just screw up a bunch of stuff? No, I thought I put a block there. Maybe I didn't. Okay. I thought I put a block here. I think I had symmetry off when I did that. There we go. Oh, come on. Get in there, sucker. Alright, let's go. Boom. Alright. Probably end up pulling the VTOL, some of the cockpit accoutrement. That's probably actually going to be ceiling color on this. There we go. All right. All right, there we go. Could you grab the color? Thanks. Whether or not I make this part of the cargo bay is probably unlikely. Got a lot of cargo space in here. Again, it doesn't need that much. It is quite a bit bigger than Albatross. I didn't realize how much bigger this was going to be. Albatross. The seaplanes tend to be pretty tall because they need to get up on plane and have plenty of buoyancy. The right color? It is. It's just the angle. Okay, there we go. Nice. And I'll probably do gray out the back. Public cargo area. Alright. So I'm digging on that. Let's see. We'll run the same color as the VTOL. Go sit in that. So that's the size of it. That's Albatross. Albatross is pretty big as it is, but this plane's big. So cargo bay, we'll see how this all works out. It's going to have an opening watertight hatch here as cargo bay. It's going to be pallets. We should be able to get some like cars and stuff in here. But this is the middle crew area, passengers, and then we'll have some jump seats in here. Windows are a little bit high. but keep the good viz on there. And then it's going to have a lower level. The lower level we can walk on. It's just got crap all down here at the moment, but here's the lower level. We can walk down here, so put some living type quarters in here. I have not hooked up, and then we'll have a way to get into the bridge, get into here. This is something I wanted on. A lot of these seaplanes have this. Can you stand up there, jackass? Thanks. So you can, this is for mooring. We got all the crap in here that I need. The gear's pretty cool. Let's do a gear fold. After then, I want to hook the gear up. Put some jack stands on here. So this has gear like the, let me find that Japanese seaplane that I like. The Shinmaiwa US-2 has gear like this. I like that. Infinite electricity would help. There we go. On the Shinmaiwa, they go backward, but center gravity-wise, I need them to go forward. So they go into their cubby there. That's going to have to be fixed. I'm going to end up putting it off the rotation here, so I have to put in some different logic, but that will get it put in there later. Alright, so that's the mains on that. I need to work the nose wheel. Nose wheel should be pretty simple. Let's go ahead and probably have a gear panel somewhere here. There it is right there. Alright. You all connected, sir, madam? AGL. Okay, let me put in... so one thing I want to do here is, if AGL is greater than 10, let me see, what is that? ZW. Alright, and then what we'll do is we will do a, let me get this lined up so it's not a mess. Okay. Then, let's see. Let's do a property. Do a property toggle right there. We'll do let's do or what's X? It's got to be the gear button. Okay. So this is just a there's just a property toggle here, so this is, so the squat switch disabled. So IRL, you have a squat switch on the gear, so when you're on the ground, the strut compresses and it pushes the switch, so the plane knows it's on the ground, and it doesn't allow you to fold the gear. And so, you know, this allows me to just click the switch when I want to do on-the-ground folds. Because generally it has to use a distance sensor to figure that out. So... yeah, let's paint. Alright, and let's get this plumbed where it needs to go. AGL, got a bunch of this. ITTs on there. What's that? Nope. P-value. I know I need a couple AGLs on stuff. Thrust lever position. I gotta plumb that in somewhere. Outside air temp and rain sensor. Okay. I think that's it for AGL. Let us see. We gotta get this gear finished. That is, okay, panels. Let's see if I can get this front gear folded out. Do I have ITT somewhere else on the other engines? I don't see the other ITTs for inlet turbine temperature. I don't know where they're. Alright, I'll have to find. Oh, I think I'm just faking them off other stuff. Alright, let's get the strobes hooked up. Strobe should be back. do some stuff while we're in here. Landing lights. Logo lights. I don't have a logo light right now. See if I can get a white nav in here. Let's check the tail for a white nav. Where's that gonna go? Nowhere yet. I've done doubles. Let's see. Can I go up one? I can't, of course. Shiza. This is gonna make the beacon a pain in the ass to do. I always go to max build height and then I have issues. Let's just do what I did in the other one. Let's clean this up right quick here. Of course, the 4, good. All right, let's see. If I do it 4s, we're gonna have a problem. I'll do double navs. Yeah, I can't do 4s if I want to do that. So let's do this first. Oh, nobody did that. Piss off. Go. Give it to me. That's gonna be funky if I do this. Try to get this nav light in. Ideally, I would like it to be like that, but the nav light's gonna be a terrorist. Let's see. Let's go. Usually you have 1, but I'm gonna put 2. Again, you don't have a height restriction, so you just put it on the top. But I have a height restriction, so I can't do that. Let's see. Didn't block the robot vacuum from the room, so I can listen to it now. There we go. That's going to be weird if I go indent either side, so we'll do no indent. Let's try a 2-banger, see if a 2-banger looks weird or not. Probably going to look weird. All for a nav light. I think how the hell I can get a nav light in here that doesn't suck. I could just put it down here and get rid of that skeg there. Let's do that, I think. Do that. Normally I'd build it up 1, but can't really. Makes it a pain in the ass trying to do this. I run this problem every time. Trying to get that white nav light in. I like that, so I don't want to screw it up. Could, theoretically, can't do that there. Figure something out later. The nav light, I'm not going to worry about it right now. I got to get a beacon in here. Beacon's also a pain in the ass because we're at max height, so. They can't put it into this zone at all. As we can see here, it's not going to fit in there. Yeah, you see there, so I gotta dick around with the bacon too, because this is high. Could theoretically bring the tail in by one block and drop it one. Kind of like the big tail. So we'll wait on that. Check chat here. Oh, thank you, thank you. Yeah, I think the gear came out nicely. Hello, Rasmus. Hello, how are you? Yeah, it's a little bit of an oil burn. Alright, so let's see. What else do we want to do here? Let's get this back color so I actually know what I'm looking at here. Let's go ahead and... let's treat the cargo bay. It's a darker floor. We'll see what we want to do with that. Gotta keep somewhat of a consistent color scheme going here. Okay. I'll accent it later. We'll just color it out and I'll accent it later. Thank you, member. Thank you, Amanda, for being a member for 11 months. Appreciate it. Very nice. Appreciate that. Let's get this ceiling color. Come on, give me the ceiling color before I go to the other build. And then I'm like, why is my ceiling color not working? There we go. We could bucket this shit because it's on a side plane, but I'm not a huge fan of plane fill because of how you end up coloring stuff you don't want to. So this isn't going to be taking super heavy stuff, so the crane that's going to put it through the doorway here I don't think is going to be too brutal. We'll see. That's the wrong color. Nope, that's going to be the right color. Alright, we'll color this door. There we go. Alright. Okay. I'm going to end up faceting the side here quite a bit, so I have to work on that. Okay. Grab the color from the, shit. No, never mind. Luckily, I built mine a smart way. I don't like it how the devs... Shit, what did I just do? I color all that. Is this good? Alright, we're good here. I grabbed the grab the right one. Forgot what I was doing. When the devs made the big cargo containers, the problem is they put the tracks on the container instead of the grippers in the container, and so like you have a problem where you got to put grippers in if you're gonna put a container in, and they're 2 blocks tall, so it makes it so you have to have enough floor to do it. I'm not doing any containers in here. It would theoretically fit a container in here, but I'm not gonna be doing a container. All right, that's the correct color. All right, let's see. Why will this not paint correctly? There we go. So it should fit a container in here. Not that I'm going to put one in. Like a container would be, let's see. I think we're 13, yeah. So a container would be 13 by 29, or 11 rather, by 29. I believe that's 11 right there, right? Yeah. 11 by 29 by 11. God damn, can I click the right button to save my life or not? No problem today? So like that is a container there, and then I think some of this would take 11. So there's 11 right there, and then the back it would have to container probably wouldn't fit anyway. Not that I want them in here anyway. I want to, that would take the job of other craft, so. All right. Then I want to do probably nothing in the tail. Generally, you're not putting much in the tail. All right, let's see. All right. Is fastening going to be a big pain in the ass is the question. Let's try working on it and see what happens. Please don't be an even number. It is not. Okay. Jesus Christ, could you not? Go off the center span instead is the question. I think we'll go off the center span. That'll be better actually. 9. Go 5 on that. Okay. Have to work the angle there. Oh, stop. Where'd I go to here? Okay. Some of these are going to be a pain in the ass to do. Let's see, what are we looking at here? 10. 8 and 2 spans. We'll see what I can do here. do that. Let's see, right here. Alright, let's run that, see what happens. Alright, or don't give me the color that I just clicked on. Thanks. Pick one. Do or do not. How did I get a double span on that? It's not a big deal I did, but cut this double span out. Get to chat in a second, guys. Okay. Do that because we're gonna have problems if I don't. Alright, that faceted up alright. Let's see if we're missing anything here. This, yeah. Across the top of that. Alright, digging that. Let's check chat out. Yeah, I'm not gonna. No container will fit in there anyways. It's not designed, or is it gonna have a container? It's gonna be pallets. Let's see. What's the width? 13, I said. So one thing we could do, get out of there. Double stacks. I have yet to do double stacks. That would be kind of a cool idea. So it'd be 5 with a 3. Yeah, let's do that. All right. What am I rocking them? 3 bangs? I think I'm doing 3 bangers. I should measure them before I dick around too much, but that's probably going to be the tracks like that. Let me quickly just check it before I screw around too much. You know, I don't want any, you know, I try not to have a vehicle take 3 in the middle. Okay, 5 totals. Alright, good. Try not to have the vehicles overtake one another for what they do. I don't want to, like, make, oh, this one completely makes this one obsolete, you know, so it's, like, this is not for containers, so. Let's go. Let's go. Let's actually keep it. Yeah, track segment's not going to matter. So this is going to allow me to double stack pallets in here. Should be able to get a fair bit of pallets in here. That'll give me a walk path. Nope, J doesn't do it. There we go. K doesn't do it. I'm pressing the wrong buttons is probably part of the problem here. Let me not press the wrong button all day long here. There we go. Nope, that's the one. All right. Wow, what the hell am I doing with the camera? All right, there we go. All right, lovely. So that's our cargo area. So copious amounts of cargo. We should be able to fit a lot in there. And so the crane is going to likely be on the door and be a big fold. Well, it's going to be thin. It's not going to carry a ton of weight, but it will fold out off the door. So as the door opens, it will be able to offload itself. Gonna probably need a tail stand of some sort if it's going to top load. So we gotta worry about it. So it's gonna have a lower entry door on the bottom. What lower means. That's how actually a lot of the seaplanes, you came in on the lower deck. Take a walk through. Alright. Digging the fastest. These I cannot screw with because that's a 2x, so I'm not going to screw with that. It looks a little weird there. I might change it. I'll change it to sideways on that one just to make it a little bit different, maybe. Like, even the tail's pretty spacious. Might put access to I might put access here. Could have dual access to the lower deck, but we have the lower deck there, and then we should be able to load in here pretty well. So what I want the crane to be able to do is move pallets in the middle, and then when this door opens to still be able to do it. We can slide the pallets ourselves. Let's do a quick pallet test. Let me save it. Oh, don't spawn it. Stop. Frick. Pressing all the wrong buttons. Ahead of myself again. That's never helpful. Let's go ahead and grab some pallets. Nice. So it will fit an extra one in here, but I can fit 4 in here because I can push it up against the wall, but I can't spawn 4 in there. All right, so that's going to be 8 total. That's pretty good. So that'll be 8 pallets. Not bad. And that's with these, which, you know, I have other pallets that don't have this collision issue. So we will definitely be able to fit 8 in here. What the fuck is going on here? Did I delete something? Oh, it deleted it when I put the pallets in. That's fine. That's because it's on that side. That's not going to be a problem. But that's, yeah, I can still walk through the cargo. Nice. Very cool. So. Alrighty, good. So let's load the save before we screw this up. Alright, there we go. So that's very nice. Let's do a quick fold on the nose gear. I think we're good to go on the nose gear now. Let's check it. I have not played with this nose gear. This came off of Albatross, the nose gear, and then I have a bespoke. What the hell? Load the other one. Christ's sake. There we go. All right. I didn't put the squat switch. Where are you at, gear? What's going on with that post there? I did paste over something else, so that's likely what that's all about. Alright, so that, the mains went fine. So currently this is all, it's not timing based, but it's, so what I need to do is I need to make it so that the large pivots show their position. So the best thing to do is the wheels going in and out like that will be based off of the rotation of the main pivot. So I'll put some conditions in there where the main pivot will not rotate unless the wheel is out. That way it won't hit anything. That's pretty good there. So I fixed that block. Where is it? It's this one right here. Right there. All right, that was from the other gear. So nice. I need to seal this gear here. Alright, that should now be watertight, as it needs to be watertight. Alright, very good. So the other thought I have, this is actually perfect. This worked out, like this was just ended up working out, but if you look, you can put a pallet on the exterior racks. It's 5 across. You can also put one in the center rack. It's 5 across. So you could stagger them as well as necessary. So that's kind of cool. I like that. This, I got to do something with this. Like, this is the problem right there. That's why I can't get that the way I want it. Like this one I could. This one's I can't. So what we'll do here is... let's go... it's a 3-banger, isn't it? Let's go... Alright, and we'll make that one the weird one. Give me that color. Give me this color. Thanks. I was in the wall, that's why. It's just frustrating. It's me. I'm sitting in the wall, so it doesn't know where to grab, but it frustrates me. It's not the game's fault. It's just me, but... it's mostly something not doing what I'm asking it to. But it's me screwing it up, so... let's see. What do we want to do in this? Might just block it. Let's just block it out. Yeah, let's just do that. I think that's better. I think this looks a little strange because it changes the pattern instead. Just do that. Like that. I think, yeah, I think that'll be better. Alright, good. So that's good. Yeah, so that'll be cool for cargo. This one needs paint fix. Haha, give me the blue. Give me the blue. Jesus Christ. I love it when it does that. I really do. Okay. I'm going to go take a quick cafe break here. Get that done. Alright, be right back. Alright, I am returned. Let's go ahead and get rid of the coffee break sign. Alright, let's see. Reformat your laptop, lovely. Yeah, it does suck. It's like when something happens, you have to redo your BIOS. Is always like a pain in the ass. It's like any of that stuff. It always sucks. All right, there we go. So we're good there. I was almost thinking of putting side doors, but nah. I don't know. We'll think about it. We have the space. We can always do it later. It doesn't have to be done right away if we're gonna do it at all. Let's see. Crane, I think, is important. So let's get on that. Oh, Christ on a cracker. These are like doing the thing where I can't paint them different colors. It sucks. Let's see if I can do it without symmetry on. Sometimes symmetry makes it so you can't do that like that. Yeah, that's with symmetry. So that's all it was. What the hell? There we go. Yeah, it was symmetry causing that problem. That fixed it. All right. So the phenomena. Let's see. Crane. So we want maximal height. So if we put it on the starboard side, we'll get better height on it. It's not going to have to take a ton of mass. Let's go ahead and I think we'll do a proof of concept crane. I think that's better than trying to build it in here. And then we'll see, because again, if I spend all day building it in here to fold up, it's not going to work anyways. What's the point? So let's go ahead and work on that. Yeah, that's like, Alistair talking about, having a reformat. That's a lot of people who, like, again, the game has issues, whatever, I get all that. But a lot of people who have, like, problems like, I'm stuck on 90%, the game won't launch. After yesterday's update, the game won't launch. It's like some of that is true, can be true, but not the game's fault. It can be something like, for example, because again, you're not getting everybody. If everybody had an issue where, like, say the game wouldn't launch, yes, it would of course be the game's fault if everybody had this issue. But when you start breaking it down to, like, certain people having that issue, it could be an AMD driver change, and then the game doesn't work. It could be stuff like, for example, you have a corrupted file. That happens all the time. Like, I often will tell people, like, go back, verify file integrity on Steam, and that will often fix a lot of these things. So much of that stuff can be, PC stuff that people will often just blame the game. Is like with Ark Survival Evolved, you get a lot of people who are blaming the game for certain things, and it's like, it's their PC or their internet, and it's like, I understand that impulse to, like, just blame the game, but oftentimes it is something other than that. It's an issue with one's PC, which of course people don't want that to be the excuse or the problem, because if it's your PC and not the if it's your PC and not the game, well, you have to go buy parts, and for a lot of people that sucks. It's expensive, and so they would much rather it just be a game problem, so they can say "boo, game bad," than to have to go buy parts. And so I get the impulse for that, but it doesn't mean it's correct. Let's see. So what do we want on here? Trying to think of all the geometry here. That's where a lot of people run into issues. Is it sucks when you have to buy new parts. It does. Yeah, it costs you money. Life costs money. Let's put it that way. And so yeah, I get that sucks. And especially a lot of people who may not have the money, it really sucks. But it's, it doesn't change the fact that it's not the game's fault that, you don't have the parts, Let's see. If we go there, I'm trying to get this. Can't do 90. That's the problem with this. I need to get all the geometry pre-planned, which is always fun. Could do velocity on that. Just I think expanding is going to be better than folding just for geometry's sake, I would say. Yeah, like it's like Ark Survival Evolved. You know, a lot of people are game runs like shit. It's like, yeah, it's meant to push your system, and it pushes your system a lot. And if you have a bad system, you can have a bad time. And I get that they don't want to go get a better system, but it's like that doesn't mean that the game's the problem, you know. And it's you see this a lot, and it's kind of it's a behavior that's really not helpful. It just isn't, you know. Alright, let's go velout, pivot. Alright. So I'm gonna need a really long crane on this one, especially if I'm gonna do any you know, seated dock. Likelihood that I do any of that is probably slim anyway, but so let's try. What's the rotation? That probably will work. So what we want to do is go like this. And it needs to move opposite. Okay, merge that Johnny there. Okay, good. Let's go track piece. We'd have to have a sequestered track piece there. That's not what I want. Yes, so this one's going to be the push one. Okay, so that's not going to be what I want. So we'll do the next segment. We'll do that. All right, talking to myself a lot here. Okay, we'll do that. I'm trying to visualize the way this door is going to work in inverse it. So I have to do everything backwards, which is always a pleasure. So let's see. Let's save this. Let's get a measurement on this door. 15, okay. Yeah, it's like, you know, I'll post pictures of, like, people will bitch about how bad the multiplayer is, and I get, most of them are probably meaning they mean, you know, unofficial. I get it. But again, it's a big part of the problem is, you know, people doing things that are really not what's intended. And then I'll post pictures of us playing multiplayer, and they'll be like, look at this timestamp, this person had issues, and it's like, yeah, generally it's their internet, and it's like by the guys who play with me, it's like, yeah, my internet sucks, and it's like it's that sort of thing, and it gets exhausting. Because it's like, you know, keep playing, you know, you'll see this in the comments section for Stormworks on the weekly updates. They're like, optimize multiplayer. It's like, dude, they could optimize multiplayer. They would take a lot of the features away that we need, or that we already have. They could take a hacksaw. They already have. They got rid of a lot of the terrain features, like underwater plants. They're not putting in like sagebrush out in the desert, and it's all for multiplayer optimization. Because on single player, you can make it easily where you can turn that shit on and off or lower the res on it, and you probably wouldn't have any problem. But on multiplayer, you know, again, that's when the problem persists. And so you end up with this situation here where you got a ton of people who, you know, are complaining about this, and they're trying to make it better, and so you have to lose something. And that's what ends up happening, you know, is they end up, you know, so they could further optimize. For example, they could make the build area smaller. That would optimize multiplayer. But I think a lot of us do not think that's something that we would want, right? To have a smaller build area. People are like, the same people who complain about multiplayer will often complain about the build area is too small. You're the same one complaining about multiplayer. What do you think causes these problems? One of it is the build, you know, the builds are too big and the build area. You know, because you're making builds that are too big, And then again, behavior-wise, it's like you get a bunch of people who will not, they won't optimize their own builds, which is one of the problems, but also, let me see, I'm trying to just measure shit. You know, they won't optimize their own builds, and that's a big part of it, is, again, you're the engineer. Optimize your build so that it works with the game. You know, and you get a lot of that people don't, you know, they don't want to hear that because they want a game that is a fantasy that does whatever they want without regard to reality, you know, and that's just, that doesn't work. Soapbox off. All right, let's see. What are we talking here? 10 meters should be fine, I'd say. Yeah, so it's like, it's stuff like that. It's like, you're just never going to win with that stuff. Let's try that. I'll play with some stuff here. Let's do keypads for now. Why is that one not working? Alright, why are you not working upper stage? Did I put it backwards? It's should be backwards. Merged? They're mono merged. That's why. Okay. That blue. This needs to be. Okay, that's got to be cut. That's why. All right, that's fine. That's the reason why right there. Could you not? Could you not go overboard there, guy? Just cut this, please. Yeah. So much of that stuff is just it's. Oh, Christ, why are you merging like? Oh, this is still. I gotta cut that independently. All right. Yeah, people certainly have valid criticisms and they're valid complaints, but it's also, it's like, you know, you fix this thing for Group A, you're gonna break this thing for Group B, and so it's something like if you're a member of Group A, of course you're like, yeah, break Group B. I don't give a shit about Group B. I only care about myself. Well, that's selfish, you know, and so like the companies who make these games, they have to worry about all of their player base, and they don't want to alienate their player base, and they're trying to do their best to come up with compromise, you know, and that's just what you gotta that's what has to happen sometimes, you know. All right, let's see. Pretty good extension on that. All right, so that's not bad. All right, so I'm gonna turn this on its side. I want to see, looking at trying to get this to lift a full pallet. Ideally, of course, I would like to try to get this to lift it with, like if it's a liquid pallet with the liquid in it. Liquids are one of the worst. It's just, you know, weight-wise, it's gonna be very heavy. But, you know, that's, I have to look at that. Let's see. Yeah, it was like one of the videos that somebody called out was like, oh, look, you can see in the video the person, you know, is lagging all over the place. It's like, yeah, it's like somebody had internet problems and they literally, I think it was, I can't remember if it was CG or not, but it was like somebody had internet problems and they rebooted the computer and it fixed it. And there were a bunch of the guys who had that. I know Sargent had some issues one episode where it was his internet or it was a computer problem and he rebooted and it fixed it. And it's like people will blame that shit on games all the time, and it's like, again, if you don't actually diagnose what the problem is, you're never going to fix it. And that's the point of making sure you have proper attribution for where the blame is. You know, and it's oftentimes, you know, if you have, like, I used to have terrible internet. It was Comcast, and it was it had a bad hop in New York. So like I had a friend who was in networking. He sent me a program that would track the. Did I put a rope in there? Yeah, he would. You know, it would track where the essentially where you were having lag spikes and problems. And so it was a bad hop in New York. And so it wasn't, it was Comcast's fault that that Tarkov, for example, kept crashing. I kept having crashing problems in Tarkov. Couldn't get to that quick enough. All right, let's reboot it. It was my internet was causing problems with Tarkov. It was not Tarkov's problem. It was, my problem, effectively. Fucking Christ, that's fast. All right, that's fine. Um, it was my problem. It wasn't Tarkov's problem. So it's like to bitch about to go in the forums and bitch about Tarkov all day long would be counterproductive because it's not Tarkov's problem that I have crap internet. And then I got better internet, and guess what? All that problem went away. See you later, Rasmus. Yeah, I think it was CG who was having a big problem. And plus, like, I'm still incredibly impressed with the fact that, like, I can play with all the guys who are thousands and thousands of miles away from me and play as well as we do in multiplayer. Like, literally, when the person's internet or PC problems are resolved, which, again, it was kind of nice to have episodes where you had somebody who had a problem with their internet and then they solved it, and then they come back and they're not having a problem anymore, demonstrating that, yeah, it was their internet. And, they go from having like 2,600 frames behind to 5 at most, 2 to 5. And so for somebody to be thousands of miles away from the host and only be 5 frames behind is pretty damn good. And for example, in Tarkov, if I get a ping over 200 for like sustained for more than like 10 seconds, it boots me from the game because it gives me a competitive advantage against the other players. And so that's when I find it kind of silly. It's like other games would just boot you if you had that sort of ping. And, you get those same people who will, like, complain about it. And it's like, dude, other games would just say adios muchachos, and they just get rid of you for it, because, you're ruining other people's gameplay. And, they are, again, I think they're trying to, Geometa certainly isn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but to put negative intention on it, I think is silly. I think that's so silly. All right, let's put some weight in here. And that's the thing that annoys me. Like, people, this grand conspiracy of, they're doing this for a cash grab or other. It's like, dude, cash grab is like the silliest term I've seen. It's like, it's just so silly. Like, talk about some mobile games. Like, I think cash grab is reasonably fair assessment of some of the mobile games. But, like, the whole notion of a cash grab, it's a business. Like, they're supposed to put out a product and you're supposed to give them money for it. I think the whole notion, people treat it like it's a public utility, which is just so silly. Didn't put the negative in there. I certainly, like, I have no argument against, like, oh, I don't think this is worth the money. And there's nothing wrong with that. Like, there's plenty of things I don't think is worth the money, and I don't spend my money on it. Damn, this is working well. That thing is heavy. That's 2,000 liters of jet fuel. I don't know exactly what it weighs in game, but IRL, 2,000 liters times 0.85 for a jet is 1,700 pounds. That's 1,700 pounds right there. So that's pretty good. We might get some weakness when I put the rotation on there, but we'll play with it and see. I want 360 rotations, so we'll grab one of these. But yeah. you know, like there's certainly like, and again, I don't think you should be comparing things to a vacuum. It's like there are absolute 100% really scummy things that a lot of businesses do. Like, for example, you know, the whole Take-Two Interactive issue with Kerbal. You know, the whole Kerbal thing, Kerbal 2, that's gross. Is you have Take-Two Interactive, which is an enormous company, you know, worth billions of dollars, and they ask full price for a early access title, which was a fan favorite, and then they just closed down the shop after that. What the hell's going on here? Did I don't think I plugged in the other one anyway. No, I did. What's up with that? No, that was the right one. I'll see if it's running. You know, and then Take-Two hasn't even mentioned, like, are they closing down the studio? They closed down the studio, but they haven't mentioned, are they selling the game to somebody else, what they're doing. And one of the issues is Steam still has it on the on the store page. You can still buy it. Let's go to it real quick. I think, like, that's ultimate scumminess. Now, the likelihood that anyone's going to buy it is probably pretty slim, seeing that the reviews are so bad, which, again, is a good time to go in. And again, I don't believe in the concept of review bombing, but put in your honest opinion. Like, my honest opinion is, like, here we go. Let's see what my review is. I should have refunded when I had the chance. I only have 1.2 hours. They laid off all the staff. Game is likely dead. You know, no problem with that. You know, so it's like the game is $50, is abandoned, is owned by Take-Two Interactive, which is a hugely profitable company as far as I understand, and you know, and they abandoned it. You know, and that's like that's I wouldn't even call it cash grab, but I think it's like that's a scummy example of a game company right now. Is a hugely profitable game company, is my understanding. You know, doing this shit. That's very gross. You know, and so, like, you know, the whole reason I brought it up was, like, you can't just, like, open these things without any level of comparison. Like, there needs to be some point of comparison where you say, you know, comparing, for example, like, when people bitch about stormworks, like, compare it to other things. Like, asking for a minimal cost DLC is pretty silly, I think, to grouch about. You know, in the grand scheme of things, when other examples exist. So you can see how much this cuts down the strength when I go to another pivot in there. So I'm trying to think if I can even get across this problem. Yeah, exactly. Submarine bombing. Yeah, like CG is saying, people need to learn that if they have issues in Stormworks multiplayer to leave, wait a few minutes and rejoin, fix almost every time. Sometimes just do it multiple times. Yep. Same thing with Tarkov. Like, you know, we've had issues where we can't get into a Tarkov raid. We literally sat there for 15 minutes doing nothing, can't get in. We try to leave the game. It takes like 10 minutes to leave the game, and sometimes you have to Alt F4 the game to get it to come back up. How's it going there, RRIKSSU SSU233? How are you there? Good to see you. You know, these things happen, and it's like, what are you gonna do about it, frankly? All right, so let's see. Rick, all right, there we go. Sounds good. Hello there, Pothead. How are you? Happy Monday. It's Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Monday was yesterday, I believe. Let me see. Am I off the my rocker today? Let's see. Are we on Tuesday? Yep, today's Tuesday. Could be from the past. Hello, Glovies. I do not remember you. So yeah, so one thing to note when you're doing this sort of crane business, again, the more segments you have, the weaker it's going to get. As you, essentially what's happening is the red base is priority 1. As you go to the next section, that's priority 2. Then priority 3, priority 4, priority 5, priority 6, priority 7, priority 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And this is when you, again, this is kind of ties in with the whole multiplayer discussion is, as you start to put in overly complex shit, the game is going to start prioritizing. Part 1 gets priority, part 2 gets the next priority, 3, 4, and it creates a hierarchy of priorities. So as you can see, by adding this one pivot, it makes it so it's no longer strong anymore. So you got to kind of keep an eye on that. So like here, let's do a lift test real quick. This is full of water. Let's do just, I'm just going to cram in -1. So you can see, can't lift it. All right. So we took out that pivot. See the difference? So that is, it's a fundamental thing that is understandable. It's probably innate to the game engine. You know, how, like, you know, people say, oh, fix this, fix that. The likelihood is it's not going to be able to be fixed. Now, theoretically, I could add, well, not theoretically, I could add a second pivot, which would help. I could add a different type of pivot, which would help. But at the end of the day, again, you have to have kind of reasonable expectations of what's going to go on. You know, some of that stuff you're just not going to be able to get to work the way you necessarily want it. Like, there's my velocity pivot right there. So, like, one thing you can do is, like here, we're on a velocity pivot. It has a motor of 100. All right. This one has 1,000. So that will help. I'm actually going to change the direction so it's going the correct direction if I can ever figure out what I'm doing here. So, you know, at some point you got to do that now. You start getting into size problems with what you're trying to do. But again, that's kind of the popular thing, is just to complain the game about it. It's like, you know, there's a reason why, like, a lot of multiplayer vehicle games, so you see that there's no problems. Now let's try it with a more robust rotor pivot. You know, when you do get a lot of these like other types of multiplayer games, like a lot of what they're doing is they're faking everything. They're faking it so that certain things work. You know, they're simplifying the logic. They're making, like, all the vehicles the same, essentially. And they're doing this to try to, like, you know, increase reliability. And they could, you know, optimize this game for that. But it's at the expense of something else, which is generally what makes this game great, is that you can build whatever you want. Like, you can already see it's sagging now that we've gone down the hierarchy. So let's try 0.1. So see, it's weak again because it's part of a different segment. So you just kind of, at this point, we have too many segments. The likelihood is that's not going to work all that great for this application. That's why I'm doing a proof of concept first. So you see how, like, that one change of adding another pivot on there, because, like, count the segments out. We're at, we've got reds 1, 2. All right, next segment is green 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 segments on this crane. Now, you know, people talk about you can add weight, truth. You can do that. Let's add some weight to that. And what it's doing is it's starting to my understanding of what it's doing is it's prioritizing that part next. It's giving it a higher priority because it weighs more. So, like, let's make blue weigh more and see what happens now. Still sagging. Let's see if it does anything to help it. Alright. That does not at the moment. Just play with some concepts here. Let's try to get some more mass on this, see what happens. So we should be able to tell right off the bat. That looks like it did. I can't tell if it sagged more or not. Let's look. So now you can see I could get it to go with a higher number there. Well, let's see. Let's take that off. Let's do the same test by pressing 1. So we'll go all the way to 1. So you see it's really not different. We're just using a higher value on there. So let's try with higher values and standard blockage here. Problem is the velocity pivot, I kind of have to... The velocity pivot is not the best thing to be working with here, but let's see, 0.25, 0.3, 0.5. There we go. So it seems to be holding it all right. Let's see, negative. So it's holding it all right. Let's see, negative. Let's do 0.4. There we go. All right, let's do negative 0.4. I'm going to try stopping the top. That's going to be too quick, I think. All right, so yeah, as soon as we take that off, the velocity pivot, we're going to have problems. So I got to think of this crane quite a bit. What I've done in the past is if I'm using fuel containers like this, I fill them on the plane. All right, let's go ahead and read some chat here. Yeah, it's just, you know, logic is just practice, going through it. Once you, like, sometimes it clicks too. It's like, just keep trying it and, you know, try to make something small. Like, if you look at the first Stormworks Basics tutorials, it's something real small, like, you know, and it's teaching different parts of logic. So, for example, you have a door. Okay, so how do you make a, you know, a numerical keypad work? You know, and then you do that. Then you say, okay, well, let's open the door with the throttle. And so you learn how a throttle works, how a numerical keypad works, you know, how some of the composites work. So, like, you know, you'll get people to come in the game and they'll, like, look at the workshop. Let's see if, I don't have display cap on. Let me turn on a second here. We'll get to the game here. Where's the store page? So, like, I didn't mean to go to the store page. I meant to go to the workshop. So, like, you know, you'll see a lot of people do this, and I think it's the wrong strategy. They'll come in here and they'll go, oh my god, look at this cool plane by Benson. And they'll be like, I'm going to make this today. Now, Benson's got a lot of time in the game. You know, let's see. What's Benson got for the time? 1,694 hours. All right. So, that's experience. And so, you're not building this on day one. And so a lot of people will get discouraged when they can't build this on day one. Of course you can't build this on day one. For example, like, if I got in an airplane with you in an airplane, I'm going to be able to fly better than you, most likely, because I have about 3,000 hours, you know, mostly in jets. And if you have somebody who has never touched an airplane, again, of course. Now, you take somebody who has been a helicopter pilot, and I've never flown a helicopter, they're going to make me look like an amateur, because of course I'm an amateur. Like, I'll understand some of the concepts, but I'm not going to be a good helicopter pilot because they have the experience. Like, I can't draw for crap. And so you get somebody who's an artist, they're going to be able to, you know, run circles around me because I don't have the experience. And so a lot of people will come in day one and they'll want, like, here's a good one by Zizo, the Saturn V. And it's like, you're not going to build this day one. So a lot of new players will come in and they'll look at these things and they'll want to build it on day one. You'll see this all the time, like people like, oh, I'm building the Titanic, and they don't even have the basic concepts. And I understand that you want to get to that part, but there is no shortcut to experience. You know, the first thing you should be making is something ultra simple. Like, you know, Alistair did a tutorial on boat hulls. You know, like if you watch my tutorial on my beginner series, like, the first thing I do is a real simple boat. And I understand that's boring for a lot of people, but that's how you get there. Fix the sound. Sounds good. Okay. I understand that's boring for a lot of people, but the people like, let's look at the top 5. Lately, let's do this. Let's go back to where I was. So, like, let's look at some of these. So, Benzin has been around for a while. Joffredi, if we look, it doesn't have his game, but Joffredi's been around forever. Probably has a ton of time in the game. You know, you look at this. This is all like Sketch has been around forever. Like looking at this stuff of like this is all experience. You can't build that on day one. You shouldn't expect to do that. Sketch has 16,000 hours in the game. You know, you gotta go and you gotta do these things step by step. You know, it's not a good idea to go out on day one and try to build the Titanic. It's better to go build a little boat. Your first build you're gonna throw away and probably use very little, but you're gonna learn a lot. You know, see about some other. How long's Doug been around? Doesn't have the game time on there. But it's like, you know, you're not getting the stuff on day one. You got to go out and make some stuff. Like, if you look at some, like, look at some more basic, like, one problem, too, is a lot of people are using the workshop as their own personal cloud storage, which I think is not a good idea. But, like, you look at some of the stuff from, like, say, less experienced players, like, you know, this one is probably a less experienced player, private, of course. Um, you know, you expect that's what you're gonna be making first. Like, you don't get there on day one. You gotta put the time in. There's no replacement for experience. There is none. You have to put the time in. Yeah. Yeah, that's like CG just said. You know, just stop somebody from trying to get a one by one modular run at 60 RPS. Again, that's a classic case of when somebody will blame the game is they will make their engine run at an insane RPS. They'll never be able to cool it, and then they'll complain that it's the game's fault. And it's like, again, a lot of this is attitude. Like, people will help you out if you have a good attitude. If you have a bad attitude, like, if I see somebody who's already in a pissy mood, it goes 50-50 whether I'm going to help them out or not, because it's like, you know, they're already in a pissy mood. They're going to get pissy with me at some point, and I'm not interested in that. And so it's like the best thing to do is ask for help early. And it's like something like that. And it's like when you run, like if you're new and you run into a problem, the best thing to do is instead of games suck, ask. Now, the problem is we have a lot of people who should just like leave, who are pissy with the game, who like, if you don't enjoy it, screw. Let those of us who enjoy the game help out those people because they get, oh, the game's broken. It's like, game's not broken. You're running your engine at 60 RPS. Go watch my cooling tutorial. You can see I'm running them at reasonable RPSs and we're getting reasonable results, you know? Yeah, but that would be what I would say, Potter. Just go through and like build something small. Like just build a door. Build a door and try a couple different ways to open and close it. The other thing too is, you know, at some point you can't just learn like a rote learning thing where you're like, oh, he said here to do this. Now that's fine when you're first starting, but what you're trying to get to is the point where you understand why the logic works. And then you can start making logical conclusions on your own. And then, like, for example, I used to follow Jersey tutorials step by step, and I'd get working stuff. And then at some point, I was like, you know what? My ideas are working better for my applications than following Jersey's one by one. And so I was like, why is he doing this? And why is he doing that? That doesn't make sense. Let's not do that. And you're going to get that even where, like, the other person's stuff makes sense. It might not apply to your particular build. And so that's when, you know, eventually you'll get to that point where you can start to make better logical decisions for your builds. Oh, the Beam, yeah. I played Beam back when it first came out, like just testing it. WS throttle stick control. What do you mean by, I'll help you out with it right now. What do you mean by WS throttle stick control? Like, you want your throttle for a boat with WS? Is that what you're talking about? You know, like for example, I would probably pick up I would definitely pick up helicopter faster than somebody who's never flown anything before, because a lot of the concepts are similar. A lot of the skills, like reading your gauges, having a good cross check, understanding the importance of where the wind's coming from, naturally how to correct for the wind, stuff like that. Of course, somebody who's flown fixed wing going to helicopter is going to have an advantage over somebody who's never flown anything. Hello, hello, Sergeant. How are you? What do bits do? So bits are kind of like, it's kind of like a cheering thing. You know, it's, you know, like it's like a way. I think they're less money too, so it's like kind of in YouTube you can do like the, you know, the comments. You can give money in that, and bits are like one thing too is I don't know if there's a way to win bits. I think there might be a way to win bits, but essentially it's like tokens. You know, that's my understanding of it. I've never bought bits. To have the throttle stick move. Okay, so here okay, that's good. That's a good way to explain it. Let me quickly. I'm just gonna save this real quick, and then we'll do that. All right, so seat and throttle, and you want the seat to move the throttle. So what I will generally do is here, I'll make it even a little bit more complicated. It will still be simple, but we'll make it a little bit more complicated where, for example, let's do it something visual. So for something visual here that we can see its motion. So a pivot works essentially like a throttle, or whatever you're going to throttle, a pivot will work for, because what you're essentially doing is a positive number is going to go one way, a negative number is going to go the other way. So a pivot's kind of a good visual representation of what's going on here. Put the donger on the end there. All right, and so let's see. So you want the seat to control the throttle. So what I like to do, especially I did this on one of my recent planes, is let's see. I want to be able to control it with both the seat and the throttle. That's generally what I'll do. So first thing is get used to composites. So we do that. Seat. It's going to be an input. Let's see. We want to go number output. That's going to go to the pivot. This is going to be increase the throttle. Throttle, decrease the throttle there. All right. So that should be what we need. All right, so if you want to do WS, again, just highlight the seats composite. It will tell you what it is, but WS is channel 2. So you want to read number 2. All right, so first thing, let's go configure our seat. And dial is one of the best things you can learn to use as a tool in game. So for example, what we'll do here is we'll take our WS node, which is this one, and we'll plug it in the dial. And we'll see what it does. So let's click on the seat. A lot of people don't click on the seat. So if we look at this, it's reset, which means if you push the button, it's going to go back to 0. If you push the button the other way, it's going to go back to 0. So you push W, it's going to go up. If you let go of it, it'll go back to 0. If you go press S, it's going to go down. It will then come back up. So again, best way I find is to visualize these things. So if we go sit in our seat, WS is plugged in there. So if I press W, I'll tell you when I press it, W. I'm holding W. If I let go of W, it comes back. All right. If I press S, it goes negative. If I let go, it's going to go positive. Okay, so that's what it does default. Let's switch this to reset 100%. So if we go to reset 100%, now let's look at its behavior. All right, so essentially we're turning WS into switches. So I'm going to press W, instantly 1. I'm going to let go of it, instantly 0. Press S, instantly -1, let go, 0. Okay, that's reset 100%. All right, so that's the first thing we've done. If we look at the seat with composite, it will tell you all the channels. That's where I get 2 is AD. It says value 2 is WS. Or I said AD, but I meant WS. So let's just start plugging these in. So that's going to go to the pivot. That's going to go to the throttle. What did I say? Negative throttle. That's going to go to the positive on the throttle. All right. Let's also... Let's see. Let's do this instead. Let's go throttle directly there. This way I can either manually control through the throttle or I can do that. We'll leave that off. All right, so let's go in here now. So we've turned this seat into a switch. So W is like pressing the 1 key. S is like pressing the 2 key, essentially. So we've turned those into buttons. So next thing we want to do here is the throttle is actually going to control this. All right, so if we press 2, it's going to give us a 1. If we press W, it's going to go up to 1. And we already tested this. We tested it with the dial, right? When we pressed W, it went to 1. So that's going to be our throttle up. Our throttle down is if we press W, we'll take another threshold. It's going to go to -1. All right. So now that's set up. So simple seat, composite read number 2, that's WS. We configured our seat so that when we press W, it will instantly go to 1. When we let go, it will go to 0. When we press the down key, the S key, rather, I shouldn't say down. When we press the S key, it goes to -1 instantly. When we let go of it, it goes to 0. So when the threshold is when we reach the number we want here. Now, you can do a variation like 0.5, but we're not going to. 1. When it reads 1, it will increase the throttle. When it reads -1, it will decrease the throttle. Real simple. We don't need the pivot on there. We can get rid of that. Get rid of that. Oh, we have to reconnect these because I'm changing the shape, but that's all right. All right, so that's what it's going to do. So real simple there. All right, so let's go ahead and we'll plumb this in. So we have throttle minus, we have throttle plus, we have the composites plugged in. All right, now we have the throttle itself going to the pivot here. Let's go to, okay, so let's, again, click on, people are afraid to click on stuff. Don't be afraid to click on stuff. Just click on stuff. All right, it doesn't cause your computer to explode. I get a lot of this where people are like, they won't click on anything, and then they wonder why they can't figure things out. Click on the stuff. So sensitivity, again, this will not matter with, so sensitivity is how quickly it's going to change. So let's go to like 10%. Okay, here, let's go to 1 first. And then we want to make the pivot also go backwards, so let's go -1. So the pivot will go all the way to -1. It will go all the way to +1. Start will be at 0. All right. And the sensitivity is at 100%. All right. All right, let's get in the seat. We press W, S, all right, tapping it. So if I let go of it, it keeps going. That's because the sensitivity is too high, as you can see. All right, now this is also, what's the read on this one? Let me see. Stand by. Did that put a velocity on here? No, it's robotic. Okay. All right, so let's play with the sensitivity. So let's click on the sensitivity. Let's drag it down to 10%. All right, so we should get more granular control now because the sensitivity is lower. We can make more minute changes. So I'm just going to tap it. See how it's slower now? Let's hold it. See how it's slower? Let go. See how it instantly stops when I let go? That's because we've decreased the sensitivity on it. Before, it kept going because it was overly sensitive. So now you can see I can control this. So now this is just a visual representation, but you can put this in a boat. So for example, if you watch my, all my boat tutorials, either the modular engine tutorial series where I converted for a boat, or you watch the beginner series, like what I like to do with my boats is when I press the W key, right, it's going to increase the throttle. That's going to tell us to go forward, right? And it's going to change the RPS of the engine to go forward. When I go back to 0, it's going to put us in neutral and stop us. It's going to disengage the clutch. When I go backwards, it's going to give us a negative number, which is going to click over the gearbox to put us in reverse and rev up. And so, again, get a visual representation of this. You can see what it's doing. You can see what's happening here. We're going to 1. And so the nice way of doing it this way is I can also control this with the throttle. So this is a good way of, if you want to control with the seat, you can control with the seat. If you want to control it with the throttle, you can control it with the throttle. You know, so does that make sense? And then there's a bunch of other things, like if you wanted to get more complicated with this, let's save this real quick. Seat to throttle tutorial. I'll make a tutorial later. I've made some seat to throttle tutorials before. All right, so like say you want to add some more features, right? So some people have been talking recently about auto throttles. They want to do auto throttles. Let's see. I won't get into it too much. I don't want to do too much complicated. But let me know if that doesn't make sense. You know, this should work. It's like, you know, this should work for you. You can do a bunch of other things. For example, like if you don't want the throttle, you want a panel, you can do that. But this is nice to do it this way. This allows you to use the seat to control the physical throttle. You can also touch the physical throttle. That's how a lot of my planes work. That way, if, for example, like I was doing this yesterday, I was flying the airplane. I want to make a tight left turn on the ground, so I manually looked over at the throttle, and I decreased the port throttle and kept the starboard throttle up, and that helped me turn. You know, and then you can bring the throttles back with the S key and then bring them back up again. You know, so you can either control them manually or you can control them with the seat. Yep. Yeah, you know, you'll eventually get it. It's one of those things that clicks, and the problem is, you know, again, it's like learning a language. You don't know the language yet, so you're trying to learn this language. You need to just keep hammering it out, playing with things, and eventually you're going to start to figure out why something doesn't work. Like, for example, if you do a threshold here, like this would work. That would work. 0.1 to 1. Now, I don't need that because what's going to happen is when I click W, it's going to go to 0.1. It's going to go to 1. So, of course, 1 is between 0.1 and 1. So that would work. It's not really what you should be doing, but that would work. So start learning why things work. You can then start to do different behaviors on it as well. Like you could put a delay in here. If you went back to reset, say 10%, for example, like here, watch, we'll do this real quick. Let's go to 0.5, negative 0.5, and we'll change this to WS sensitivity. Let's go to 50%. So now it's not as instant. It'll take a little bit longer, and this puts a delay in there. So if we watch this, when I press W, I'll tell you, when I press it, W, see, it puts a little delay in. When I go to S, S. So like, now watch the behavior over there. See how it has a little bit of a delay? So it has a delay. You can see it's a tiny little delay in there. So that puts a delay in there, right? So let's go down even more. Let's go 20, let's do 12%. We'll do a quarter. All right, so let's, we'll press W, W. So see, now it clicked it. And now when I let go, see it continues. So watch this. We'll press S. Watch what this does. S. Now it clicks. I let go. See, it still goes. So this one, it has a delay to start, and it has a delay to let go. So it keeps going a little bit. All right. So I'll tell you when I press W, W, let go. So see how it continues? So like learning these little things of how the behavior works, you start to understand why the logic works. And then you can start to make some other cool things. And like this would have limited utility in a lot of stuff. But for example, when would this be useful? Let's say you're going to do a really big crane and you want to simulate momentum. This would be good for all sorts of momentum. So when I go to turn my crane, I'm going to press S. And it's going to take me a second to get the crane to start moving. I'm going to let go, and the crane's going to keep going for a little bit because the crane is heavy, right? It's moving a heavy load. And so if you want something to have a little bit of momentum and feel like it's heavy, this would give you that feeling of it being heavy. It has a delay in it because you have to wait for it to start to turn this heavy crane. Object at rest wants to stay at rest. Object in motion wants to stay in motion. So this would give you that heavy feeling of like you let go and it still travels for a little bit. It's not instant stop, you know. And this would help with a crane because it wouldn't swing the load as much. It would more gradually slow down. All right, let me quickly go through chat. Now we'll see you there, Rick. Thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Yep, so that's the thing is, again, I understand like a lot of people get discouraged day one, and that's the great thing about this game is the complexity. And it seems in the beginning, it's the complexity seems tough and terrible, but you start to realize that the complexity is kind of what makes the game. Is most games take shortcuts. This game is not taking the shortcuts, and it seems appetizing to want the game to be super duper easy peasy, but that is not really the best thing because it's the complexity is what is making this game interesting as far as I'm concerned. All right, so one thing I might do, Christ, I'm trying to think how to do this. I might go work on the, let's work on the wrecker a little bit. So I'll talk about what I was going to talk about here. So I think I'm gonna put the crane on the door, and then I might use the door's angling to help the crane. So like for example, what we're going to be doing is likely loading to the rear because they don't want to hit the propeller. So likely what the crane will come out and it will rotate out this side, and when you lift the pallet out of here, that's not going to really work. I'm just trying to think. I was gonna say, use the tipping of the door to help angle it, but I have to figure something out. Yeah, we'll come up with something for the crane. Take a break from it for right now. But here, let's go take a flight in the plane. We haven't flown this, or I haven't shown you guys flying the plane. Let's get symmetries off. Let's get rid of you. You can go. What are you off? Let's put you under. Let's put you inside for now, anyway. Eventually, I'm gonna put this in the gear panel. The other gear panel, I gotta cut the information up and put it in there. All right, and then this can go, and then I gotta find out what channel the gear is on. 2, okay. All right, that's all plumbed. All right, and then let's go ahead. What is going on there? What is that? Okay, that's just radio. All right, let's go shut the squat switch off. Let's go for a quick flight. Guess I didn't take off the jack stands. I should be able to get rid of Albatross. I'll do that too. Thank you for your service, Albatross, for helping me get this thing started. Appreciate you. That's the nice thing, too, is when you get a suite of vehicles and you can start using parts, that's when it makes things really start to get easy. And again, there's no shortcut in that. You can take things from the workshop. My whole thing, too, is it's like I very much think people should build the stuff themselves as much as possible. I think it becomes a crutch pretty easily. Like you literally have some good builders who have never once built their own microcontroller for engines or anything else, and so it's I think you end up making it where customization becomes more difficult. Let's fix this color up here real quick. So as you get a suite of vehicles and you like, what I did with this is I wanted this to be a 4-engine turboprop, so I went to one of my 4-engine turboprops and yanked everything. One of the issues becomes then that you end up, your stuff doesn't get better because you keep copying your old stuff, but like, I'm going to go through this and add some systems and everything else. Electricity, I think, may not be 100% connected, so we'll go. I don't have any fuel in here. Let's go infinite fuel as well. All right. Don't have any side doors yet. Those need to come in. They're gonna be underneath. All right. Let's get in the seat here. We want bat 1. Do power connect. I don't have an APU connected yet. Let's start number 2. Clear prop. Number 2 is coming up. Shut the music for a second. All right, number 3. 3 is coming up. You can see the prop on 2. Can't see the prop on 2. Put a notch of flaps in. There's 2's lit. Parking brakes are not in there anyway. We got to wait for the prop to spin up. That's something that happens in turbines. Again, this is a good example of how load works with an engine. That happens in real life for turboprops, is the propeller is not connected to the turbine on start. And the reason is it would require too much energy to be able to turn the propeller. The diameter of the propeller is big. It's moving a lot of air. Even when it's in beta, it's a lot of resistance. And so the turbine spins up first, and then when the turbine is at a high enough RPM, it then will clutch in the propeller. So that's why they do that. So like when you have a problem, like you see it a lot, especially with new players, they have trouble starting their engine. It's often because they have the clutch engaged and they don't understand that that's a lot. You're asking it to do a lot of work to start. It needs to get moving before it has any power. All right, let's start up 4. Did I start 4? Nope, I never got 4 all the way up to start. Let's get 4 up there. There we go. 4 is up. All right. What happened to... What's going on with 1? Did I not get 1 lit either? I must have let go early. Why is 1 not starting? Oh, I shut the fuel valve off. That's why. All right. That would make sense. There we go. All right, 1's coming up now. So asymmetrical thrust is something that is done all the time. Like when we would taxi out, we would use asymmetrical thrust. So if you have multiple engines, you use asymmetrical thrust by, for example, if I want to make a left turn, I can either increase the ones on the right or I can just pull back the one on the left. And so I don't have any brakes connected right now, so I have to like start my turn a little early, but you would generally use the engines. So like for example, I don't need a rudder on this. I may put one on there. I'm leaning towards a no, because you have 4 engines. Use the engines for asymmetrical thrust. Especially those outboard engines that have a long lever arm. They're pretty, they have a lot of torque. There we go. Right, airspeed's alive. V1 rotate. Oh, shit. What's up here? Did I not hook up the... oh, no, I changed some stuff, so maybe I have to check what's up. Do my elevators working? My elevators got disconnected. Okay. My elevators aren't connected. I don't know if my ailerons are connected. Elevators got disconnected. That would be why. Okay, that would be the issue. Let's put the flaps up. We have no elevator, so I gotta go work on that. Do gear. So there, in real life, there are problems with gear if you push them forward. Like there are gear retraction speeds in a lot of airplanes. Let's bring this back. My elevators aren't connected anymore. I accidentally deleted them earlier, and I think they might have lost their connection. There are maximum gear retraction speeds. Yeah, that's what happened. There are maximum gear retraction speeds on a lot of airplanes, and the reason being that you're fighting the air resistance. So if you're going too fast, there's too much air resistance, and you're putting too much strain on the gear, on the either the electric actuators, or the jack screws, or the hydraulics, depending on what system you have. So you might have on a, I think, what was the 140, what was 145, you could put them up at 250, proper hydraulics in there. But I think like the Eclipse 500, you had to worry about, I think 200 knots, something like that. Maybe higher, maybe 220 was max retraction speed. So you want to make sure you got your gear up before you hit 220. And if you didn't, you want to slow down before you try to do it because you're fighting the air resistance too much. Yeah, I have no, I would say we'd have no problem running on 2 propellers on this plane. So, like, you might want to do that, for example, for fuel savings, like, if you're not, you know, but they used to shut down 2 of the engines on the Antonov 225, and that caused one of the crashes, was they shut one of them down, and they couldn't get it started. And then they're trying to come in and land on 4 engines, and yeah, that's not wise. P3 Orion used to run on 2 when they would be doing their sub hunting, because they'd be out there for like 14 hours or something. Nuts. And so they'd shut down 2 for fuel savings. So, like, I want to make this left-hand turn now, so I'm going to actually pull, where are we at? I'm going to pull the number 1 into reverse. Eventually. We're going into reverse here. Did 1 start? 1 started. Why are we not going into reverse? I don't know why 1's not going into reverse. It is a little bit lower than the other ones. 136.5. I don't want to get any asymmetry there. I'm a little bit high on it now. All right. Flaps. We got flaps. All right. Flaps good. Let's kick some lights on here. See what's working. I don't have anything on there yet. None of my lights are working, so I gotta play with those, see what's up. All right, let's check our powers here. 136.5454. This needs to come up a little. That's why we're still turning. All right, let's go ahead and let's get out of here. All right, one thing I can do with my system is I can go all the way down on the thrust, and I can bring them all down to the same, and they'll equalize. So I'm in reverse now anyway. I think I only run 2 of them in reverse. I think I'm just running the centers in reverse. I can't remember. All right, so see, now they're all even. We're going backwards. So you never want to hit the brakes when you're going backwards in an airplane like this. You will land on your tail. You use the thrust to stop. So you'd go forward with your thrust. You do not, if you ever do a power back, you do not want to be hitting the brakes because you will land on your tail and break your tail. And so you always use the power. All right. You should do a quick control check. Yep, we're good now. All right. Should have done a control check before you took off. You always do a control check IRL. Right before takeoff, when we're clear for takeoff, we do a quick control check, make sure the controls are working. Airspeed's alive. If you want to rotate, positive rate, gears coming up. Especially in a large airplane, pretty much as soon as you've got positive rate, gears coming up because you can't land back on the runway. The big plane needs too much runway. You'd rather go around. On a small airplane, you won't bring up your gear generally till you're almost getting towards the end of the runway because you theoretically could come down and land. But pretty much, you get into big airplanes, as soon as you're off the deck and climbing, the gear comes up. I like the cubbies for the mains. All right, so we are, let's go full thrust. All right, so we have 100. So I've talked about this before. When you take off, normally you're at low pitch, high RPM. So you're like, look at the RPM on these. They're not directly connected, but I have some functions in here. But you see we're doing like 170. Now, as I bring back the propeller, which I'm bringing back now, notice our speed comes up. I'm increasing the blade pitch. All right, this is a good example of load. So as I bring back the blade pitch, just waiting for the speed here. So I'm going to try to get to max speed. So there is a blade pitch which will give me maximum speed. I do have the constant speed propeller system on here. So where's that? 220. So about 222 is our maximum speed. Okay. Now as I increase the blade pitch, like you can see, they're barely pitched. As I increase the blade pitch beyond here, let's keep increasing the blade pitch, the speed is going to go down. The reason is simple. The blade pitch is causing resistance or load on the engines. It's causing the engines to go at a lower RPS. As the blade pitch increases beyond, what's going to happen now is we're going to go slower, but we're taking a bigger bite out of the air, so we're more efficient. So if we look here, I don't have a real RPM reading, but notice how low the RPS is on this, essentially. We're at 146. Right, when we were at minimal blade pitch, we're at 170. We're at very high RPS, which means a lot of fuel burn, and we're going 170. We then increased the blade pitch, which made the RPM go down, but we were taking a bigger bite of the air, and so because of that, we were able to go up to 222. That's our max speed. That's our best speed prop pitch. As we increase beyond that, we go to max efficiency. Max efficiency is the best, essentially the best prop speed, my God, the best prop setting for efficiency. So yes, we are going slower, but we're burning barely any fuel now. So, for example, if I went full prop pitch, we'd be going 170, but we'd be burning a ton of fuel, a lot of fuel. I actually burn less fuel going 222 than I do at 170 because I increased the blade pitch, and now my engines are running at a lower RPS, and I'm going 222. When I go to max efficiency, I'm now at a slower speed, but very efficient. So this is all the stuff you do IRL. So generally, if you're going to be in some sort of airliner or something, you're running at max efficiency most of the time. It's not worth getting there faster. And especially the distances in stormworks are so short. The difference between 222 is quite a bit different. So let me look at 222. Get a quick distance here. So like say we're going to go up to Tajin. So Tajin is, let's see, 106 kilometers. I got to change that over to nautical. KM to nautical miles. 106. So 57 nautical miles. So currently we're going to, let's see, what is that? 13 off of 60, so about a 2.25. So 2.25 miles per minute. So for 57, so let's talk about half. So we're talking about, I would say 30 minutes. Let's say less than that, 26 minutes. So about 26 minutes to get there, probably, at this speed. Now at 222, we're going 3 and 2/3. So 3.6 miles a minute. So we're talking about 20 minutes. So we're really not gaining that because the distances are so short. Because the distances are so short in game, it's negligible. The difference between me getting there is like, say, less than 10 minutes. We're talking 6 minutes maybe difference on there. It's really not worth me going 222 to go up to Tajin. I'm going to burn a ton of fuel, and I'm going to get there in like an extra 6 minutes. Now, if I was going 1,000 nautical miles, that's when it starts to become a thing, because I'm now going considerably faster over a long period of time. That's when it makes sense to go at max speed if I'm going 1,000 miles. Now, if I'm going 1,000 miles, likelihood I need to be at max efficiency because I won't have the fuel. You know. All right. Somebody's outside putting a roof on. I was like, what the hell is that noise? Yeah. Yeah, like Alistair's plane is set up to be like a realistic airplane, so it's got these ranges and it's good for that. Especially diesel is super efficient in game, and so that sort of stuff is good for 1 RP is good. 338. Let's do that. 338. So let's see. I'm on infinite fuel anyway, but I'll put fuel in this before we go too far. But like, this is the difference. So like, people will often make this claim in the game. They go, I increased my prop pitch and I'm going slower. It doesn't make any sense. It makes perfect sense. You just don't understand why. And so the question is, hey guys, I increased my prop pitch, but I'm going slower. It doesn't make any sense to me. Does anyone have any insight on this? Because it does make sense. And then you'll get some people who go a step too far and they'll say, the game's broken, I increase my prop pitch and I go slower. No. Now, if I put a more powerful engine, it would be able to turn the engine at the same RPS at a higher prop pitch. Then you would go even faster. So understanding that, if I put a more powerful engine in, I would be able to then run it at a higher prop pitch, and that would give me more speed. What's happening is, once I get over a certain pitch, the engine is not powerful enough to maintain max RPS anymore. That causes it to decrease RPS. We go slower, but we also gain efficiency. So it's understanding that relationship where I think a lot of people miss that. All right, let's bring it back. Let's try to fuel this sucker up. I'm actually kind of sticking on this for a little while. I've got extra time on Alistair's challenge. All right, let me quickly go through some stuff here. Catch up on some chat here. Yeah, so for example, do I have a constant speed propeller system in this plane? That's what you generally will have in most complex aircraft. And so what it's essentially doing is, when I move the prop, I am telling a PID, and in real life you do it with a screw and oil, but what I'm telling it is, hey, I want you to maintain 600 RPM. And what it will do is modulate the pitch to maintain that. Now, it doesn't do it as much in game. It does it a little bit, but in real life it does it a lot. So say, for example, I'm level, and I pitch my nose down, and I have my prop set for 600 RPM. As I lower my nose, right, of course, gravity is going to start helping me get down, right? And so my speed is going to increase. The airflow over the propeller is going to make the propeller spin faster because it's going to reduce load on the propeller. And so the propeller is going to now exceed 600 RPM. So the propeller is going to automatically increase its blade pitch to start to slow itself back down. So the propeller will automatically modulate to maintain the setting that I put in there. That's how it works IRL. That's how I have it working in game. So, all right, let's see. One thing I was thinking is, I got to see where this sits on the water line. I may put side doors on here, right here. And I could put them up really high and put a gantry crane on there. That's another thought for pallets. We'll see. The crane, I would like the crane for... putting like boats and cars in here, but it is a little weird and different. We'll see what I end up with. The problem is when this sits in the water, it is it sits reasonably low. Like, people will be like, oh, it sits ungodly low. It really doesn't. Like, if you look at real ones, they sit pretty damn low. Like, I can't play the video, but like that Japanese seaplane, if you watch some of the Shin Maiowa US-2s taking off, they sit pretty low in the water. They're sitting with, if you look at the paint scheme, I'm not going to show the picture, but it's all the white. I'll show the picture. Screw it. All the white is in the water. Let me see. All the white here is in the water, and then when it starts to take off, it goes on plane. That's what all this ribbing is all about, is trying to force the water to help push the plane up and cause planing. And so it lifts out of the water, so it barely skims on this part right here, and that helps it get out of the water and take off, reducing drag. But But yeah, so it sits a little low, of course, because our buoyancy is different in game, but it's not terrible by any stretch of the imagination. Like, I'm not set up yet to be taking off in the water, but I gotta double check, make sure I'm saving the right thing. Let me stand by and make sure I'm saving correctly here. Let's go stick this in the water real quick. Just show you where it's at in the water. One thing I'd like to see the devs do is at least make a base or a couple bases where the dimensions of this hangar are the same width-wise, because we currently have a width problem where, you know, if I make it so the seaplane is going to fit in the aircraft hangar, it is too wide to fit in the sea base, which is not a big deal to me. I don't give a shit too much, but it would be nice if you could just launch it there. It saves you a little bit of time. Like, it takes me, what, I don't know, 15, 20 seconds there to just do it with the add-on editor, so it's not a big deal. Let's see, let me get rid of this so I'm not looking at it. All right, let's look at this real quick. So you can see all I care about is that the horizontal tailplane is out of the water. As you can see, it's the rudder is not in the water. That's all I want. It sits nicely. The propellers should not be in the water. That's one of the reasons why these tend to run smaller propellers and more engines, is you can't have large diameter, you'll hit the water. So once this starts gaining speed too, it will climb out of the water. So it's not a big deal. I made custom pontoons for it. So I like how it sits in the water. This has no glitches. I don't want it to have glitches. Start running into problems with, for example, the rocket glitch. You're going to run into problems where, you know, you're lightening it too much. The wind is going to have too much of an effect on it. So I'm content with how it sits. Again, this is just all inherent building to make this work right. But you know, it's gonna get some not necessarily trickery, but it's gonna have some tools to help it in the water. I have not put any of those in yet, but yeah, I like how it sits in the water. It's also gonna make it easier to get on and off of this. So up there we go, and you know, so, and then this level will be the entry level right here, if I can duck. And then all these will be put away in the wings, likely. This will be there'll be some living space down here. I may put a hole in the floor so we can put more pallets underneath. That would be kind of a cool idea. We'll see how that has to work, if I can make that work. But that'll be some cool ideas. And then there'll be a little tunnel to come up here, and you'll be able to get out of the nose through the hatch. So hatch will probably be flipped, but that's it in the water. So I like how it sits in the water. I have all confidence. We'll have no problem getting this up on plane. We can use fins if need be to get this up on plane. But it has plenty of power. Thrust, any sort of thrust weight issue, what I'm likely going to do is we'll have, when the flaps go down, it will add a little bit of pitch to the propellers to counteract the center thrust being over. Center thrust is really not that far over the center of gravity on this plane, so it has no issues. And I'll probably be based on a water sensor so that goes away when we don't need it, because it can cause some floating problems. I still on display cap. Let's look. Yeah, just go ahead and post the boat on the Discord. Did you do a weight and balance? Probably overweight. All right, Rick is back. King Sheep, hello, hello. How are you? Yep. All right, let's see. Let's do, I'm going to take a quick coffee break, and then we'll do fuel. All right. All right, be right back. Alright, I am returned. One thing that was kind of cool about the Shinmaiwa is that the takeoff roll is 900 feet. That's insanely short. See if I can... It's always annoying. Let me see if I can get a... Maybe I can get a video of it up that's not going to cause problems. Trying to get the audio off because it's annoying. Like, you know, for example, I could do a reaction video and it wouldn't have a problem, but like some of the stuff, it's a short. It'll start over again. That's the Shinmaiwa US-2. Really cool Japanese amphib. You see how much it lifts out of the water as it starts to come up on plane. Barely any of it touches the water at that point, so it's really little resistance. So like they used to do it a lot in the 50s was they would inject water into the turbines, and that really increases compression. Like here, let me find some water injection in the turbines. You know, it's funny. People think, oh, you know, you can put water in the turbine and somehow the fire is going to go out. For example, like we used to put on, like for example, you don't have your injectors on when you're just going through the air, flying. You only have the igniters. I said injectors. I meant igniters. You only have the igniters on when you start the engine. You'll put them on as a precaution when you go through heavy rain, but you don't need them. Because like you need them for start, absolutely. But here's like a test of them blowing water through there. Let's see if I can get a good one. I'll bring it up once I find it. Yeah, like a jet turbine, no problem with water, and it actually increases the compression ratio. So you get more compression. Let's see if I can find when they inject the water. I don't want to. Here's one. Watch how much water. It's like fire hoses going in the engine. Like that's how much water they're blowing through this engine, no problem. And it increases the compression ratio like crazy, so you get a really good compression blowing the water through. So like they used to do this in, I think B-52 might have done it at one point. They had a bunch of different airplanes where they had water injection. Let me see if I can see. Aircraft with water injection. Um, 707 looks like 707. Yeah, so here's the Wikipedia article. Just look at it real quick. So they spray water into incoming air or fuel-air mixture or directly into the combustion chamber to cool certain parts. It also increases the compression ratio. Like right here, it says water injection was used historically to increase the power of military aviation for short durations during combat. Generally, it was takeoff. You know, so they used to inject water like wet takeoff from a KC-135. As you can see, they're blowing water. And they're low bypass turbofans, so they're not that powerful. That's why a lot of these had 4 engines where they're just like terribly underpowered. And so they blow a bunch of water in there to get some better injection. Some of the flying boats would get it to give them extra power on takeoff. You know, they're not blowing in seawater. They're blowing in fresh water to try to increase the compression. All right, let's see. Let's get the fuel going. So, like, I've been kind of in a drought of not feeling like, you know, like there's nothing I wanted to stormwork. And now I am, so it's kind of nice to get back into it. Like, sometimes you need that. You need a good build that actually makes you want to play, you know, and it's... You know, it's like when people say, I'm bored. Okay, well, you know, do something else. Like, that's the best thing is when you're bored, do something else. Like, forcing yourself to play any game is kind of silly as far as I'm concerned. It's like, go do something else, man. You know, when you feel it again, come back to it. Like, there's no point in forcing yourself to play something. If you're not enjoying it, take a break. You know, and I think that's a big thing of, like, in life in general, like, just getting burned out. is like, you'll get all burned out doing this shit if you don't take a break when you need it. Let's see, where you at there, guy? Okay, so this is my anti-flap. Alistair, this is anti-flaps right here. So if you notice, I think you said you did it, but or you did the propeller. But here's anti-flap. So here are my flaps. I have flap, flap. These are all fins going the opposite direction of the flap, and that gives it a realistic behavior, realistic deck angle. It gives it the drag that it's missing naturally in game. So I tend to do anti-flaps on most of my large aircraft like this. I don't want that. Let's cut that there. Let's cut a barrier. This should be able to go full panel on this. And go full panel on that. I'm going to say, please be on symmetry. All right, so that is all potential for fuel. And then we need some. So one thing they'll do IRL. Let's see if I can find pictures. Aircraft. Spelled correctly would be good. All right, aircraft accumulation tank. So often they will have a tank where the fuel goes in. Let me see if I can find. I know Cessna 172 has an accumulation tank. Let me see. Let's see, 172. Try to find pictures of it. Yes, this one will work. So here's a Cessna 172's fuel system. Oh, Jesus Christ. Let's make the picture small again. There we go. All right, so you have your port tank, your starboard tank. You then go into a small accumulation tank. And so, for example, like let's say you're taking a left turn and you only have your valve open for your left tank. Well, the fuel can't go uphill, so you wouldn't get any fuel. So what happens is fuel will come down, will go in the accumulator tank, and then as you bank, there's still fuel in the accumulator tank. So even if you're not getting any fuel coming in because you're in a bank, the accumulator tank will keep the engine running, and then eventually you'll level out, and it has enough that it'll do that. So that's one of the systems. So often they'll have these accumulator tanks where they go to a central location. So that's a smart thing to do sometimes in your design, is to put an accumulator tank that allows them to get together and then eat out of the accumulator tank. Like here, you can kind of see there's the selector valve. There's one of the fuel tanks right there. What it looks like. Here we go. Left tank, right tank. Oh, what's this? What is this vent thing here? Again, we have air vents on all sorts of different systems IRL, but it gets in game and people have a shit fit. You need the vent in there, or else the fuel's not coming out of the tank. Very simple. You know, it's a realistic thing that happens, and I don't know, people have to do it in stormworks and they lose their mind. I had a student who broke one of these engine mounts one day. That was fun. I had to taxi in with the nose off the ground, and then I plopped the nose down when we get to maintenance. I shut the engine down so the propeller would stop. And generally in those type of props, the propeller will stop horizontal. And then I plopped the nose down when we got to maintenance. Because he dumped the nose right as we were touching down. And I couldn't save it fast enough. It wasn't a big deal. He just cracked it, but it was like, I would have rathered if he didn't. Oh, God, pissed me off. But so I ended up just landing us. I took us off, and then I landed us when we got in. Because I don't want to have to deal with it. Popping it, blowing something. It went too far there. Let's go there. Alright, so now we've got our cells for our tanks. So generally this is what I'll do, and then I'll put in half blocks, and then I will, like, you can just put in, if you do half blocks to start with, you can pretty much just put in your, you can just pretty much put in any of your microcontrollers in there. And then if you're afraid of performance, go right ahead and put in physics flutters. And you had somebody like, oh, you don't want to do that, you know, ruin your performance. Like, put in a physics flutter. That's what it's there for. That's why there's a physics flutter. For this very reason. Floods it with physics, and the liquid still works fine. All right, so let's work on phenomena. Let's see. So I want to work on accumulator tanks. This is where it becomes a pain, so I got to kind of figure out where we're going to go to get fuel. Let me check all these, make sure. These should all be fuel here. Let me just double check, make sure that's where they're going. All right, so right here. Comes out there, goes in, yep, right in the turbine, then continues on. Real simple. And what is this? Must know what this is. Okay, that's just a pass-through because it needs it for, that is, okay, that is for generators. All right, copy, copy, copy. All right, so we can take fuel off any port here. So I'm going to try to do cells. Let me see if I can get some sort of fluid port in here. Problem is I gotta make some sort of accumulator just to get in there. I could put a strap on each engine. I'm trying not to have to do that. Let's go. Let's try there. I think the clutch stops fuel from going through. I'm not 100%, but I think it does, so we'll play with that. Can't see for shit with this color. There we go. Let's see if I can. You can't do that. Yeah, let's just do it this way. I'm gonna generally vent the system, so let's try that. Alright, and then this will bring it back. So I gotta be able to bring it back through. Alright. This will have a lot of fuel, be really fuel independent. I might have screwed up here. I gotta check. Yeah, I fucked this up. No, it's all right. The engine, so IRL and the way I've got my engine set up is they are all going the same way. In real life, you don't have counter-rotating propellers in most commercial applications. I've talked about this before. Is like you'd have to have double the parts sitting there because the engines are built differently. So some trainers, especially, you have it so you don't get VMCA where you end up killing yourself as a student. So they do it there, but in general, you're not going to be doing that. In general, you're going to be having, stand by. In general, you're going to be having, oh, Jesus Christ, if I could think. All the engines turn in the same direction so that you could, for example, let's say you have 4 engines, right? 2 on the plane and 2 on a shelf. And one of the engines needs to be replaced. You just take one of them off the shelf and put it in the plane. All right. And then when the next engine needs to be replaced, you take the other engine off the shelf and put it in the plane. And you take the engines that you took off the plane and you overhaul them. If you have engine 1 is a Model A and engine 2 is Model B, so it's counter-rotating, it rotates the opposite direction, you then have to have essentially 4 on the shelf because Well, you'd have to have one of each, so you'd have to have four to do the same thing. And so it ends up being much more economical just have them turn the same direction, you know. So that's generally most, especially commercial applications, they're all turning the same direction. So, and then these, let's see, gotta go. Um, so by turning that, it lets the cell come all the way there. And then I just need to stay away from the roots here so that I can get fuel. This is going to be a lot of fuel. We'll see. I can always put the spawners down a little bit, but we'll put in, I got to put them where the spawners go to. We got to work that. Kind of annoying. And that needs to change a little. This cell here, so like go in and look at your cells, see if they're held hostage here. Like this cell's fine. You see it can go up and over, so that's fine. All right, so let's work each cell here. So what I think I'm going to do here is we'll take a... And then this one here, we'll just turn this backwards. So if they're going this way, like that. All right, and then what we're going to do is go like this. Put a little facade on there like that. All right, and we'll do the same dealio over here. Make sure everything's honky-dory over here. It looks good so far. All right. Yeah, we're going to be able to suck up each cell. All right, I got to put in a fluid port in here too, which is kind of a pain in the ass, so we'll do that in a second. I'm going to probably just stretch this out. Let's go... Oh, stop it. You take ding ding. All right, like that. That one I still have open. Okay. Where are we at here? Do that real quick. Am I not symmetried? Did that not take? I don't know. Gotta look. Right. Let's go out on the outboard here. All right. All right, we should be able to get one there. Christ, liquid meter sucks too to get in here. It's kind of a pain to do some of this. I got to make sure that, I don't know if that clutch is going to let it through, so I got to check that too. So let's do this first. Let's grab a liquid meter. Go like this. Make sure that that clutch seals. If the clutch doesn't seal, then we have to do something else. All right, it's got fuel in there. I'm trying to see how much. I got a ton of fuel in there. Step forward a little, you ding dong. 1562. So that's not bad. That's 3,000 liters just on the exterior section there. Which is, what's that? What is it? 1 point something? Let's see. Let's see. kg per liter of Jet A. Let's see. Yep. 0.8. So that would be 3,000 times 0.8. 2,400 pounds. A little bit on the light end. We might put them in the hips too. Let me catch up on chat. Yeah, the coffee is good. Okay, I got you. Yeah, I saw that. Spinning gyroscope? Like a no, I'm not. Not spinning gyro. All right, so that is sealing. So the clutch seals, and I don't think we're getting in the engine bay. The engine bay is open, so I doubt we're getting. I believe the engine bay is open. Maybe it isn't. Maybe it's getting fuel in here. I don't know. I don't care, but that works. All right, let's get rid of you. There's no way for me to get that in without it. Trying to see if I can get this in without having cell problems. I think that's clean there. That could be one right there, and then what's all this shit here? Pipe, 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 pipe. Oh, I got the whole pipe thing going here. Okay. I like the way they look. I don't want to fart around with them too much. That's the problem. Let's try this. This could be helpful. Let's see if I have a blow through in the entire engine. I can't go all the way through. Let me check some. I'm trying to see if I can actually put a physical throughway. Can't. All right. So the problem now is I need to be able to put in. Do that. Okay. I need a spawner and a liquid meter. To read the fuel quantities. That'll work. All right, perfect, right there. So we'll take this, put a straight pipe on that. All right, and then we'll take a spawner. I need to ventilate these tanks, but I'm going to ventilate them in a central location. All right, so that's going to keep my overhang business here to a minimal. All right, and then I need to, let's see. We could flip this one just backwards, so that one goes like that. So that will let fuel through the crack there. And then this one can be standard. Like that. All right, good. And then we just need to have a channel in here, so we'll go... like that. You do the short tail in the front and then the long tail in the rear. That, right. Okay. Fix this here. I'll move it back. Where are we here? Now, the other thing that you won't see when you start up the game, but what's going to happen is the center of gravity is going to be closer to the propellers by putting the fuel in there. So if you put the fuel on the belly, you're dragging that CG way down, where you're trying to get it close to the propellers. One of the reasons why the fuel tends to be where the engines are anyway. IRL. All Alright, so this here needs to be changed. Alright. See how it's working with symmetry going here. Fuck off. What did I delete here? Like, why is this different? It should be the same. Am I gonna have friggin' symmetry problems now? Gotta be careful here. I'm gonna have symmetry problems. These engines are not symmetrical. Gonna have symmetry problems? We are. God damn it. Alright. Go back a little bit, see what's up. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna just get off symmetry here and play with it. I gotta do each one independently then. It sucks, but whatever. Alright. I gotta put a relief probably inside of the aircraft somewhere. Can't see. Okay. Alright, so that's the exterior on that side. Do this one. What is that? Ah, shit. That's okay. That's just a T-piece. All right. Good to check them now and be like, why is my generator not working? Okay. Okay. I gotta fix all the spawners, but I'll go through all of them when I get there. Okay. This is why I don't like paint bucket. Is I don't want that like gray in there and everything else. That's not what I'm wanting. Yeah, the engines are not symmetrical. They're, like I said, they're all turned the same direction. That's why I can't just get symmetry on there. Might put facade on there anyway here. Just for visual here, so they look the same. Okay. Alright. That's good. Let's go start working these. Okay, delete the whole turbine. How about you? What is that? That is straight piece. Okay. Like, see how this is silver? That's because of the paint bucket bullshit. Now we're getting in the hard music. Good. Let's not do that yet. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's something that sounds easy again, like doing, oh, just change the spawners so that they don't require 2 blocks. But yeah, I think that's easier said than done. Say there's some innate things with the engine that's just like not that simple. Again, if it's complex problems generally require complex solutions, and you can easily say it, and the question's easily like, is it really that simple? And the answer is probably no. Well, it'd be cool if that's how the game worked. Could be an engine limitation. Who knows? I'll accumulate all the fuel and see what we're looking at for that. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. Go. All right, so we're plumbed there. I got to put in, still need to do air reliefs in here. That will happen at some point. Probably bring them into, I'm trying to think where I want to leave the air in these. I might try to do it in the engines bay. I think that might be what I do. I can't remember if the engine bays are open or not, but I will open them up. We'll do ventilate them through there. Let's go ahead and most of this wing I can just put microcontrollers right in. Like all the top, like 100% of the top section can just be microcontrollers if I needed to. Accumulation here. I need to accumulate them here. Spawner. I screwed up the spawners here. Shit. Alright, I gotta fix these. They all have to go backwards on this. Alright. Now the top cells would take care of them, so that's why I didn't do it the first time. Is the top cells should take care of them, but we'll go through and we'll make sure. Yeah, no, it was blocking the top cells. I gotta do it this way. All right. Let's turn that way so they can get out of there. All right, that makes sense. I gotta look at the other side, make sure I didn't do that over here. There. Check real quick. We'll go in there. The hell am I here? Oh, it's on this. What the hell? Yeah, it's on the inside. Okay. check these. And then the pipe goes all the way to the body because you want to be able to cross-feed your tanks. One, for weight and balance reasons, and two, for, you could theoretically run on one tank and starve it out, so you need to be able to switch them up. Generally, it's weight and balances. Start getting one tank burning more than the other, you start getting a big imbalance. The most dangerous thing in cargo hauling is cargo shifting. That's the most dangerous, but then you start getting fuel imbalance. That can be the most weight because people generally, even American people, don't weigh that much. It's the cargo is most dangerous. The cargo shifting has caused some really nasty crashes over the years. They had a 7-4 go down with that. They have a real bad video of caribou going down because of that. Just you go right on, you just pitch up too much stall out and crash. It's not bueno. The opposite of bueno. Malo. Muy malo. Not much you can do with that. Well, there's nothing you can do at that point. Once the CG's that balls, you're done. That was the U-2 spy plane had a really, like, they talk about the coffin corner and that, like, the you got in a problem with the U-2 where if you went and like, it had like a 5 knots between stall and overspeed. And so that's how bad the U-2 situation was. So if you went 5 knots too fast, you would overspeed. If you went 5 knots slower, you would stall. And so it was very, like, on a knife's edge. Plus you're above the Armstrong line. You got to worry about your blood boiling, which is always fun. Don't want your blood to boil. Not good. Best not to have gas in your veins. 10 to nice. 10 to good to have a liquid where liquids belong, and gases where gases belong. Tends to be the way of it. Could put symmetry back on, I guess, for painting here. Save myself a little bit of... Oh, stop. I colored my boot. I do have an anti-ice system in here I need to play with. Make sure that's all up to snuff here. Oh, stop. All right, let's see. We need to merge. Well, need to let the tanks talk to each other. This is gonna be a problem. I might trim the door a little bit. I'd have to trim the door by 2 blocks. If I can avoid that, I would be happy. Is there a place I can get ahead of this door? Probably not. I could come forward, go through there. That's probably what's going to happen. Okay. Let's do that then. I need to ventilate these tanks as well, so let's see. Where are we at here on the side panel? Right here. Let's figure this out. There we are, right there. Let's go to here. Here we can go straight down, that's fine. I can't really go through the floor because of the track segments. Could just make it a visual element in the belly. I think I gotta ventilate this. Let's check some chat here. Armstrong line is for Neil Armstrong. It's above 65,000 feet. You need to have a pressure suit. If you don't have a pressure suit on, your blood will boil if you depressurize. So I'll bring it up. It's it's not necessarily a hard line, but it's kind of the general thought process on that is, it says altitude above which atmospheric pressure is sufficiently low that water boils at the normal temperature of the human body. Exposed to pressure below this limit results in a rapid loss of consciousness, followed by a series of changes to cardiovascular and neurological functions, and eventually death, unless pressure is restored within 60 to 90 seconds. So if you don't have a pressure suit, if you were to lose pressurization in your airplane, you would very, very quickly pass out and die. Yeah. So 63,000 feet. Couldn't remember, 63 or 65. So, like, for example, if you look here, standard atmosphere is 1, of course, at sea level right here. You go up to, they're doing silly bullshit like Olympus Mons on Mars average, Armstrong line. So, like, if you look at the pressure, I do PSI. So, like, PSI is a 14.69 on sea level. The Armstrong line is 0.9. So very, very small. To put it in perspective on, so like here's Everest is 4.89. In some of the jets I used to fly, we would run between 7 and 8 psi. So about, somewhere in the neighborhood of half of what sea level is, but double what Everest is. So you start getting problems. It drops below that. You need a positive pressure for your lungs to work. If you don't have a positive pressure in your lungs, you just don't do gas exchange anymore. So, like, you start getting into things like over 50,000 feet, you start getting pressure demand. It's pressure supply oxygen masks where it forces air into your lungs, which is not comfortable. Which, luckily, I've never had to deal with any of that shit. But, like, in fighter jets, it will blow air into your lungs, and you reverse your breathing. You actually have to blow it out, which is not, I can imagine, is not pleasant. So I'm trying to think what I want to do. I can bring it down and then go under to the floor, which is what I might do. I need to ventilate exterior. Let's check. I might ventilate. So, one, I need fuel to be able to be passed through. Okay, it's going to the floor because I do need to do cross-feed pumps. So we're going to go to the floor because I need cross-feeds. So let's actually just back it up. Yeah, I need to do cross-feed pumps, so we're going to do it through the floor. That's going to be kind of a service area back there anyway. We could go all the way to the back and run it through here, which is, I think, what I'm going to do. That's what we'll do. All right. Yeah, so so for example, there are charts called time of useful consciousness charts. So we used to have to look at those for oh Christ. So the issue would be, for example, if you were to have explosive decompression in say, an airliner. Shit, I can't go through there, can I? If you had explosive decompression in an airliner, you also have to worry about the air getting sucked out of your lungs. Shit. I gotta go all the way to the floor for this. All right, I'm not going back there then. Yeah, you have to start worrying about the air getting sucked out of your lungs. And then as the air... Okay. I'm having all sorts of issues here with this. If I put a door, it's gonna go in between the posts anyways. Okay, it's fine. The air gets sucked out of your lungs, which, as you can imagine, is not pleasant. And then it has all sorts of problems, whereas the air gets sucked out of your lungs. you need the pressure in order to be able to breathe. And so if the air gets sucked out of your lungs, you can no longer do a gas exchange, and you'll suffocate. So as you can imagine, suffocating is not good. Shit and shit. There we go. All right, we're finally figuring this out here. All right. So let me see if I can find a time of useful consciousness chart. All right, so like here's a time of useful consciousness chart. I'm kind of building while I'm building while I'm talking, so half the stuff I'm probably saying wrong because of it. So like here is the altitude and how much time you have before it's all over. And so essentially what you'll do is when you get hypoxia, you get euphoric and you don't give a shit anymore. And as you're flying an airplane, you'd like to give a shit. So because you don't care if you crash. So it's important to care. And so if you were to lose, like if you were to go above 20,000 feet, you have about 30 minutes or more of useful consciousness. You'll still be conscious, you'll still be awake, but you'll be useless. You'll be like drunk. Essentially, you'll be like you're drunk, and you won't care at that point. 22,000 feet, 5 to 10 minutes. So you see, just an extra 2,000 feet will give you a real depreciated amount of time. 25's 3 to 5, 28's 2.5 to 3, 30's 1 to 2. This is where you start getting really problematic. 35 and above is 30 to 60 seconds. 40 is 15 to 20. 45 is 9 to 15. So, for example, when I flew the Eclipse 500, let's see if I can find it. So when I flew the Eclipse 500, this Johnny, this could go up to, I believe, 42 thou. Let me see. Let's see. 41,000 feet. So we go up to 41,000 feet. If the cabin had explosive decompression, we had 15 seconds to put on our mask, or else you're not putting your mask on anymore. You don't care. And so you had to get the mask on in 15 seconds, or else you were going to be, it was all over. And so, like, you had, let's see. That's not what I'm looking for. We called them facehugger masks, but this is what it is. It's a quick dawn mask. I'll actually call it its real name. Quick dawn oxygen mask. So like these are quick dawn oxygen masks, and they're usually kept right next to you in a little box. And you grab the two tabs, and this will expand. The air goes through these. It's rubber tubing, and it will expand it so you can quickly put it over your head. And then when you let go of the buttons, it will suck it to your face. So that's what look like when they have the mask on. They put smoke goggles on. Luckily, they used to not have smoke goggles. They started putting them in when I was in the airlines. If you have smoke in the cockpit, you can't see. Like, it will burn your eyes. And so they started doing smoke goggles built in so that you could actually see and be useful and actually fly the airplane. Because if you're blind, what good is it? So that's what the mask is. And they're right in a crate next to you. I'm trying to find the case. This is what it looks like when you push the two buttons. See how big it gets? Because you have to put it on over your headset quickly. Because, again, you don't have a lot of time. And it's in a little box next to you. I'm trying to see if I can see the box. But the box is literally right next to you. And you just grab it, and you have to be able to put it on and be breathing in 15 seconds. Or else you can't breathe. You're in deep trouble. Right here. There's one right here. That's the mask holder right there. And you see most airliners will have that mask holder right next to the seats. And there'll be one in the back. If you have dummy seats, they're there for the dummies too. For the jump seats. But that's what you got to worry about is if you don't get that mask on, you're never going to put it on. So if you don't get it on within 15 seconds, you may never get it on. You just stop giving a shit. And that's like we were flying. I was flying with a student one day, and we were only at 15,000 feet. No, we were 11. We were under 15. 15 You can go above 15 for 30 minutes without supplemental oxygen. Over 30 minutes, you require supplemental oxygen. And so we were only up at 11,000 feet, and we're up there for like, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. And the two of us started getting really giddy and like laughing at the stupidest shit. And I'm like, oh no. And he's like, what? I'm like, we need to get down. We're getting hypoxia. And so we started getting hypoxia, which we shouldn't have been getting at that low of an altitude, but we were. And so we quickly went down and got some more oxygen, and then stuff was not as funny anymore. Because it was, we were suffocating essentially. I thought I took you off symmetry, but I didn't. I like having some exposed components like this in my builds too. So there's crossfeed right there. All right, so that will crossfeed, and then I will run the actual fuel venting here in a second. Trying to think where I want to run fuel vents. Fuel's going through there. Let's check. Are these nacelles open or not? Okay, that's... Okay, those can all be cut, I guess. I don't know if this is sealed or not. Let's take a quick look and see. That's not going to work there. Let's try here. Good. It's not sealed. Beautiful. So if you get a negative value like that, it's not sealed. So the reason I'm checking to see if it's sealed is I want to do a vent. And as long as it ventilates to the exterior atmosphere, we are good. What is that? That is RPS connection there. So we don't want to go to the RPS connection. Where is friggin' fuel? What is this central line in here? Oh, I accidentally put a central line through here. All right. That's just... There we go. Okay. That looks like fuel there. That's fuel. Okay, good. What is this? That's the top of the engine. Yep. Okay, perfect. All right. Good. Gotta go through and fix a bunch of these engines. I'll go through them manually, and then I'm just gonna do them manually so that I don't frig them up, because I don't want to have to come back and be like, why is my engine not running? This one got done. Okay. This one, how are we looking there? This got the blockade in between. Okay. Yep. Perfect. All right. All right, what are we at? We're at number 1 right now. So we're just going to put a fuel vent in there. It's like, again, so many people make such a huge deal out of this. And it is, like, the easiest thing to do. It really is. And I just, like, they literally want, like, they literally will spend all this time going back to earlier game versions and all this for, like, something so simple as adding this. And just, like, spend all their life complaining on the internet because they have to do this simple thing. Like, literally, that's all I need is 1. But I'm going to put 4 of them because why the hell not? Like, this is going to make sure that we're vent more efficiently and that we're always vented. like 1 would probably cut it, but let's do 4. Why the hell not? That's it. You know, and you have to do it in real life. That's the thing I don't get, is like the devs luckily have chosen to like add some cool stuff we have in real life. And it's like, all right, so fuel is ventilated. We have cross bleeds and feeds to the different sides. So that's all good. All right, let me quickly look here. Read some chat here. Yes, that's why they say to put on your mask before helping someone else. Because, like, for example, they generally say to do it with children or anyone, you know, they say to help anyone else. But you do it first yourself because you know that you'll be passed out and you're not helping anybody if you're passed out. And it's why the pilots, for example, the pilots don't go in the back a lot of the time. Why don't we go in the back? Because again, if you go down, everybody goes down. So it's kind of like that's the thing. It's like, you know, if you go down, everybody goes down. So it's that's why, for example, the pilots don't go in the back to deal with pastures, unruly pastures, unless you're on the ground. And that's like that was the issue with 9/11 was before they used to just give up control to the hijackers because generally they were trying to get somewhere, and you know, they would let everybody go, and that after that they're like it'll never happen again. That door is not opening, not happening. You know, so same thing as you put on your mask before helping someone else because, you know, helping somebody else first is a good way to you pass out. And now, like for example, they always talk about in the context of kids is you put on your mask before you help your kids, and it's because if you're passed out, your kids are not getting their mask on anyway. It's like put yours on. You'll survive a long time if you don't have oxygen. Well, if you don't have full pressure oxygen, let's put it that way. You'll survive a good bit of time. The problem becomes you just won't be conscious. And that's why they call it time of useful consciousness. Is you'll still be conscious. You're of no use. And if you're the pilot trying to fly the airplane, it's kind of good that you're useful, you know? You don't want to be useless as the pilot. Or pilots. You know, you need to be useful. So that's why they call it time of useful consciousness. Is, you know, beyond that time, you cannot guarantee that you're going to be any use. So, like, again, the reason why we had to know these things was if you started, for example, getting euphoric, that's a symbol, a sign that you are depleted. You don't have enough oxygen. You're starting to get hypoxic. A sign of hypoxia is euphoria. And so by knowing that euphoria is a sign of hypoxia, you knew to look for euphoria. So if the other pilot starts getting giddy or you start getting too giddy, like the two of us, my student and I started getting giddy, and I said, oh shit, and we went down because at some point you're not going to care anymore. You're just going to be too happy to give a shit, and that is not good. All right, we got some holes. What the fuck? We got some holes somewhere. This one is, that one's reading. It's filling the pipes, so this one's sealed. Okay, so we have one bad on this one. Okay. And I gotta trace down these problems. All right, let's see. Okay, here we go. That's one right there. It's one problem child. That will do it there. Okay, so that's one of my problem children. Let's see what's on this side. Where's the spawner on this side? It's got to be right here. Nope, that's the facade. All right, the other one's here somewhere. Where the hell is it? Right here? What the hell? Where am I? All right, right here. That one's sealed. Okay. Did I not do this one? This one might not have gotten the treatment here. Look, okay, right here. Okay, the same thing right there. This one just needs a straight piece. God damn it, I did it again. Deleted the turbine. I use turbine, like we call jet turbine engines turbines. So it's, I'm not just talking about the turbine section, I'm talking about the whole unit when I say that. So it could be confusing in some of my videos when I call a jet engine the turbine, calling the entire thing a turbine. That's just what we call them. It's a component of it. It's just, you know, what we call the entire unit a turbine. Alright. Do a pressure test on this sucker. Not good. Those three are sealed. So they're filling up the pipes. That's where the fuel's going. Fuel is spilling into the pipes. The pipes don't spawn with fuel in it. So they are filling up with fuel. So 31, 1,000, 4,000, let's say 46, 4,500 aside. 45 hundo times 2 times 0.8 is, that's only 7,200 pounds of fuel. Probably going to want a little bit more in here. I don't know. Would it be to put it into perspective, we have in the VTOL that I just built, talking about, I have 40,000 pounds in that. So it is considerably more, but this is much more fuel efficient. So we'll leave it with this for now, and then we'll see. Let me make sure plumbing-wise. Let's check electrical, too. I'd like to get this thing off of... hold on. The dark synth wave is banging in my ear too much. I'm going to have to adjust it. And let me know if it gets too quiet. I'll try to do something with it. Oh, Chrome is at 100%. How did that get up there? Oh, OBS, I probably been banging the music too loud the whole episode. Hello, Citrus. Hello, hello. How are you? Hello, Zizo. How are you? Yeah. Well, that's what actually most being high does. For example, alcohol reduces the oxygen, and that's what makes you feel good when you're drunk. You're getting hypoxia. A lot of other drugs that's what they're doing, is they're lowering your oxygen. That's why you get a buzz when you have a cigarette, is it's lowering your oxygen. You know, essentially that's why, you know, some certain things that are reducing your oxygen load in your blood is entertaining. For example, whippets. Whippets are displacing oxygen. You know, that's what that does. It displaces oxygen, and you are hypoxic. You're forcing hypoxia on yourself. That's what you're doing. I think we might put fuel in here too. So that's what the whole dealio is you're essentially making yourself hypoxic, and that's what why people do that sort of shit, is making themselves hypoxic. I could put some in the hips if need be, but I'm reasonably content with the fuel where it's at. Let's go ahead and let's check out electricity. All right, let's see. That is ground power. That's master right here. So this is the master right there. All right, we have some connection problems here. That's ground power is fine. Okay. That is the 2 batteries going to GPU throughput there to the master. Okay, that's all fine. That's the master side. On gear. Got to do all this here. It needs to be plumbed. That doesn't need to be plumbed. All right, that goes to the master. Master puppets are pulling my strings. That goes there. All that. Is that all connected? The light goes to there. That's good. That's good. All right. That's on the master. What's the master doing? Those will go to the master. Distance sensor can go to the master. Where is my physics sensor? Right here. Physics sensor is already pre-plumbed to master, I think. Oh, it's going there. Okay. I've got them plumbed in as sensors. That's fine. Generally, actually, what I do is plumb them in as sensors. Okay, that's fine. Let's see, where are you plugged in? You're plugged in there, through there. And then you go down to the master there. You're good. Let's see, control surfaces. We should probably get those plugged in here. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Gimme, 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 gimme. All right, good. Control surfaces need to go into the master. I might do the hydraulic bus like I did last on the other plane. Alright, the generators are not plugged in. Let's see. Generators, I think I'm running the gens off the master. Let's try that. Master. And then I think I'm just, yeah, I'm clutch controlling them, so that makes sense. That's good. Alright. And then how are you guys plugged in? There to there to there. There to there. Okay, then these need to get plugged into the master. Alright, I think that's about it. Let's see. And this is already pre-plugged. Alright, let's go give this a run around. Try to shut off everything, all the cheaty bullshits. Where are we at here? Electric fuel are off. Alright. Power connect on 1. N2's coming up. Let's go ahead and put a notch of flaps in. Alright. Doesn't look like 2's blowing off. So 2's not getting fuel. Why? I just took out all my fuel gauges too. Son of a bitch. Let's see where we have fuel here. I'm gonna try to. I'll put a combiner and do that right now, so I can actually read them. Linear speed. Why are you on there? You should be physics sensor at this point. That's fine. Spoilers. We don't have spoilers. That's why that's all disconnected. Let's see. That's autopilot. Number 2, number 1 fuel. Okay, and then let's add them. Let's see. What do we got? How much space do we have in here? Not enough. All right. Got a sickness. I have to have them in order. Let's see. Jet A kg per liter. What am I running? 0.8. Okay. Okay. The hell? Okay, it doesn't do an end. Of course you did that. Why wouldn't you have done that? Fucking busted a hole through here. Did you cause problems, or you just put a hole in there? Ugh. I was hoping it would go vertical, and it did that. And then, of course, I grabbed the wrong arrow because the arrows are absolutely brutal. Okay, just put a hole somewhere. It didn't even matter if I had a hole. That's alright. That is okay. Alright. Actually does need to... That hole does need to be sealed. Alright. Alright. Alright, the gens are all disconnected. Let's fix those. What the hell's that? Okay, I'm running a different way then, I guess. Oh, no, that's red clutch. Okay, here's gens right here. Gens right here. Alright. Say, why are these all disconnected? I did the wings separately. That's why a bunch of the stuff's disconnected. Couldn't get all the parts at the same time, so... number 3 gen. And the number 4 gen. Alright. Outside air temperature and rain sensor. This is for the anti-ice. That's one of them. The rain sensor there. And I need to fix this. That's screwed up now. Whatever, I'll fix it later. Alright, let's see. Variable brakes, let's do that. Don't have my brakes connected. I haven't had my brakes connected for a while. So let's see, where else we at here? Let's see, starboard crossfeed pump. Right there. Alright, where's the port crossfeed pump? Park brakes. Plug in a bunch of shit we need. Okay. APU come later. Transponder. Buzzer. That's all transponder bullshit. Let's see. Stole prop pitch. Oh, that's okay. I get spoilers and spoilers. Thrust lever position. That's all for spoilers, which we don't have. Alright, we're mostly good, I think. We'll play with some of this shit in a minute. Alright, let's go see what's up. We weren't starting, so likely we didn't have fuel, so I'm going to see what's up. I might have balled something up with the fuel. I'm going to check it again. Alright, number 1 bat. Make sure we're not on infinite electricity. We're not. Okay, power connect. That should start going down. That should stay the same. That's good. We don't have an APU yet. Oh, you know what it is? I need the APU to be able to start the engines. That's what it is. Okay, let's put an APU in. I don't have any flat plane for... Nah, I could go off the top. an APU in. Yeah, it's probably, I have it simulating pneumatic air pressure, which I will probably end up not simulating. We'll probably do a pneumatics. No, I'm not going to plumb all 4 engines. Screw that. We'll simulate it. I have to go through the fuel tanks again if I do that. I'd rather not. Maybe some point when if I feel like doing it, we can do it, but not feeling it right now, certainly. Stop. Come on. And that's flip. Of course, it's friggin' backwards. Screw it. Do normally aspirated for now. Play with it later if I want to. You can always check make sure your exhaust is actually going out. A lot of people that don't do that, and then engine doesn't run. Yeah, engine doesn't run because the exhaust hits 60, and then 60 atmospheres, and then you've got no place for it to go. So you got to make sure you're doing that. I'll just do this for now. Want to get the engine started up. All right, let's plumb that. We're good there. Let's see where that's plumbing into. Electricity, where's you going? Where are you going? I think I just plumbed that right into the master. Let's run that in for master. Okay, that'll do. See if we can get crack on that. Number 1, battery power connect. Lead valve over the left side. I want to start 2 first. There we go. See if it starts. No. We're spooled. That's going. No, it isn't. Why is it not getting fuel? Check fuel. We have fuel. Why are we not getting a crack on that? We have fuel. Ah. Yeah, we have plenty of fuel, but why is my engine not taking fuel? Let's check it real quick. Infinite fuel was working fine, so let's see what's up with fuel. We'll path out all the fuel. So we have... Oh, I didn't change them over to jet fuel. Somebody probably said it in the comments. That would be why. I forgot to do that. That'll do it every time. Oh, slurry. Piss off with slurry, thanks. That's not going to do anything if I put slurry in there. I don't know, I'm paranoid about the first one. Did I put slurry in there? That's why we're having problems. So it wasn't even the APU. Good reason to be. Alright, let's check. Probably not, though. And we'll see a king sheep. See, is it? Alright, let's try a crank on this. So yeah, I just didn't have the right fuel in there. See if we get a light off at 30. Nope, no light off. What the hell? Yeah, we actually have more fuel in there now, too. What is the deal here? That is all jet fuel. That was the easy solution. Doesn't mean that was the problem either. Jet. 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 Okay, it's all jet fuel. It's not like it's contaminating. Let's go cell by cell and check it out. I guess I could put that on. Let's see. That won't cause any problems if I paint that. All right, let's see. All right, so the cells should all reach. We have that. It's going in to here. Comes up through this pipe here. Goes through there. That's still good. Okay, goes through here. We have a gas relief valve, and that we go in to the engine. So that should have fuel. Then we continue through. We go down, go through here, which then we make sure this T's off correctly. All right, that comes down. It then T's into the fuel port right there. That is all good. So it also has fuel on this side. Then it comes down here, goes up and over. We have another vent, goes right into the engine there. Down across, we have fuel into the cell. Comes across, goes down, across, down, across. That looks good. Comes down through here, through this pipe, goes into there. That's the cross feed. Goes up, across, and up into the wing. Alright, goes across. Yeah, that's good. Goes across. Here, I try to stay where I can see it. Alright, it's going to come here. Goes into a T-piece, which is there. That's all good. Comes up and over. We're ventilated on that side there. We go right into the... Backwards? No, it's all going the right way. Yeah, it's all going the right way. Okay. I was just couldn't tell what side it was on. Comes across, goes across like so. Goes there. Okay. We should be good. Let me check check the other side to see if that's the problem. Alright, starting 1. I think it's at 30 they pop. Nope. Keep holding it. Make sure I didn't misread it to something else. Yeah, that's not blowing. What the fuck? Okay, one of them kicked. Which kicked? Okay, so... Could be the crossbleed problem. See if this one will pop off. Could be a bleed issue. See. I don't remember when that one took off. This one should be popped already. What's started? 3 started. Check 4. Could be one side's ballsed up, and I gotta fix that side. Yep, see that one kicks at 30. I got both crossbleeds selected on this one. Wonder if, yeah, it's not that. Why are these? The fuel valves are on. Should kick off at 30. Nope. Alright, so it's just number 1 and 2. Let's see what's up. Turbine. Goes through there. To here. Goes to master. That's good. Yeah, 1 and 2 are having problems here. Goes to there, to master. That, so it's not electricity. Alright. Got fuel. Right there. We think we have fuel. What the hell? Looks like fuel to me. Check other connections, make sure other connections. There. Somehow this throttle disconnected itself somehow. Okay. They were working earlier, so it's likely the bug where it disconnects shit. That's what it is. Alright. Alright, that did it then. AGL needs to go to the distance sensor. This is for thrust reversers. Yeah, okay. That's what it was. Alright. Let's go for flight. So start my inboards because I don't want excessive yawing as I'm taxiing out. Alright, 2's blowing. Wait for the prop to spin up. How's it going, Variante? How are you? Alright, 2's blowing. Let's check, make sure they're stabilized. Again, you wait. You can tell the prop is up because they're stabilizing. You see how it's dropping back down? So it's not stabilized until it matches the other one. Now it's matched, stabilized. Now you taxi. You don't taxi early. Okay. Yeah. We'll do a landing in the water. I doubt we'll be able to take off because I don't have any of the I don't have any of the stuff set up to overcome the drag like the propellers. So I'll put a water sensor in there when it hits the water. it will add a little pitch in the props based off the flaps, because what it does is it floats like crazy if I do that. So, all right, now we're clear. Let's go ahead and blow 1 and 2. So, fuel valves on, cross bleed. Actually, what we want to do is we want to turn left. So let's blow 2, or let's blow 4 rather, and that's going to help us turn left. Because we're going to have to fight that engine if that engine's on. You starting? Okay, it's up. Looks like it's up. Why is the prop not clutched in yet? Fucking electric. I bet you it's an electrical problem. Why is that not clutching in? No, it's a logic problem. Shit's getting disconnected that I did not disconnect. Which, again, I flew this recently and it was fine. Let's see what the hell's... Oh, I might have disconnected that by accident, but I don't think so. Let's see. Pitch, ITT, throttle. Let's see. Clutch pressure right there. That got disconnected. A bunch of the stuff got disconnected from the bug, I think. Okay. Check the clutches. Make sure those are all good. That's good. That's good. All right. That's that bug that is quite frustrating. Because I did fly this recently and they started right up, so... Alright, inboards are going, flaps are set. Let's start taxiing out. We're not stabilized. I'm not going to wait for stabilizing, but we should. You see, that's why we're starting to push, we're starting to yaw to the right, is because I don't wait for the engine to stabilize. Alright, we're clearing. Let's go ahead and we're going to blow 4. Alright, 4 is coming up. Let's go ahead and we'll blow 1. Alright, there we go. APU's coming down. 1 and 2, all 4 gens are on. Hydraulics are on. Oh, yeah, hydraulics are on. They don't do anything as simulated. We'll eventually I'll play with that and make them. I don't know. I may or may not put in. If I have space, I'll do it, but it requires a lot of space to do my new systems. So, all right, flaps good. Flaps are set. All right, go ahead, take off. Alright, control check. Alright, we're good. Alright, control check complete. Let's go. Airspeed's alive. V1 rotate. Positive rate gears coming up. I don't know why this one's starting with... This one is the old seat. So the seat used to remember your trim settings. That's why it's remembering the trim settings at the old seat. The new one doesn't do it, which I think is an improvement. I'd rather it delete the trim settings every time. Up. The nose wheel decided it was going to be a dickhead and stay out. Alright, that's fine. Alright, so let's come in for landing here. Flaps are in. Just like in real life, we're going to get drag, and we're also going to get some lift. This thing will go slow, which is good for especially seaplane. So we do need a bunch of trim. That's normal. You got to trim when you do a pitch power configuration change. We did both power configuration. So added flaps, and we reduced the power. You can see, very nice slow flight on this. Got that big flat wing, big square wing, lots of flap. Down easily 60 knots, no problem. So because that anti-flap, this is how the deck angle should be. You notice we're a little bit nose up. As you're slowing down, right, you need more angle of attack to maintain altitude. We're still descending, but to maintain the altitude you want. And so you have a higher deck angle, and that anti-flap helps with that by giving us some drag. If you didn't, you'd have your nose down the whole time. That's not how you descend. You generally descend like this with your nose up. Let's add a little power. You can see I can go down to like 50 knots, which really helps with... now, we have a tailwind. We'd not be landing with a tailwind, but whatever. I'm going to land with a tailwind. You can see we're at 60 knots, no problem. There we go. And so that will get fixed when I put in the water sensor. It will not dip the nose like that. It will, when it hits the water, the props will pitch up a little bit. So those two got waterlogged. So that will get fixed when I actually put in the sea systems. Like, I'm not going to be able to take off from the water here because I don't have that in there. But what will be added will be either add a little bit of prop pitch with the flaps. I may or may not do that. We'll see. Or I'll do it with a water sensor. I might just try to add a little bit with the flaps. We'll see. Likelihood that I can take off with out doing those systems is probably pretty minimal. Because I need those props to overcome the issue with center thrust, center of mass. We spooled? Those are waterlogged. They might not come back. Nah, they keep going out. They got waterlogged. They're probably damaged. All right. But yeah, that will get fixed. I'll fix that. So generally what I'll do is I'll hide some fins in the bottom of the craft, and that will, when it hits the water, it will kind of skate in the water. It won't get pushed into the water as much. That will help. And then also the props will add a little bit off the flaps. Yeah. All right, let's recall it. I think we'll get off for the day. Yeah, it's good to have a build I'm interested in. Kind of had a drought in there, but this is coming along. All right, let's go ahead and save this, and I think we'll jump off for the day. Yep, but coming along nicely. All right, guys, so thanks for watching. If you liked the video, make sure you like the video. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, and I will see you guys in the next one.